Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So tell me how I should feel, Richard. By the way, he's Richard. I'm David. TexAgs. How should I feel about what happened this weekend with the MLB Draft, from where our guys are going, and maybe what it could mean for this upcoming baseball season? Do you feel good about the high school kids that said, you know what, I'm going to stick around, and maybe some guys that got drafted that could reconsider potentially?
Absolutely. From the A&M perspective, let's go ahead and start there, right? Because that's what I think most of the audience wants to know. I think A&M came out of this draft because no one's going to go through the Major League Baseball draft and not take some hits. Mm-hmm. But A&M went through it with minimal hits. Talk about their high school class. Trey Ebel and Connor Como, two of the guys that you expected to sign with big league organizations. The only two high schoolers that got drafted. Mm-hmm. And then you were watching on Sunday evening, and you get to the 18th round, and then you get to the 19th round, and Clayton Freshcorn still hadn't been taken. And then the Cardinals pop him there at 564. That's really the only surprise, along with Jace Evangelista, one of the transfer portal commits, going to the Red Sox in the 14th round. But Freshcorn, the biggest surprise, because, you know, if you look at the slot values, what every single pick is worth in round 11 through 20, you know A&M's NIL machine can absolutely match or exceed significantly that $150,000 number. But they're not battling with that number. It also feels like the Cards took Freshcorn as an insurance policy, to where if they don't get their other signees or a lot of their other draft picks to sign, they can allot more money to get Freshcorn. So if you're an Aggie, you are hoping that the St. Louis Cardinals sign all of their other draft picks, and then Freshcorn can say, thanks, no thanks, I'm coming back to Texas A&M. The deadline to know that for sure, unless Clayton announces himself personally, is going to be July 27th.
Oh, so it's a quick turnaround.
So we've got, what is that, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So we'll have an answer on Clayton Freshcorn sometime this month. But until we have an answer from him, still a really nice draft for Texas A&M, right? You have 8 Aggies, including Clayton, get drafted, beginning with the highest drafted position player in program history. You have him for 1 year, but Chris Akopian, what a special season for him. I am going to remember the 1 year of Akopian as grit, right? The way he battled through those back spasms early.
Face pop.
Yes, he took a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to the face on a Friday night in Baton Rouge, and he's back in the lineup on Saturday afternoon.
Look at this production value. Nick Savage, well done, sir.
Yes, and we'll talk about where he went in just a moment, but you think about, he played the last month and a half on a broken leg.
Yeah.
He runs into Jorian Wilson in Gainesville and suffers a small fracture and plays through it. What a tough dude. He hits over 300. The bat-to-ball skills are elite and might be among the best anywhere in the entire draft. That's why his hometown Washington Nationals, and isn't that a cool story, take him 11th overall. He's a DMV kid. He told us when he first got here, actually told me on the Take 5 we did upstairs, how he grew up a Nats fan and had all these favorite players, Juan Soto and different guys on that 2019 World Series championship team. Sorry to all the Astro fans bringing that up, because the Nats broke my heart earlier that October.
Yeah, I was there.
But it's such a cool story to see a guy go to a hometown club.
That is a theme. We'll get to that in a moment. But I didn't get to see the special. They did that random 30-minute. It's probably not random, but it felt like a random 30-minute pause in the middle of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And we had a feeling that Gavin was going to go pretty soon. And then we're like, 30 minutes. And they played the special, and the volume wasn't loud enough for me to hear with Derek Hakopian, Chris's dad. And I didn't get to watch it. I don't know if you saw that, but it seemed very cool.
They ran it a little bit. They ran it before the draft, actually. JP Morosi came to College Station, one of MLB Network's lead reporters.
He started following me randomly, I think, because I was at that thing. I'm sure he's unfollowed me.
Makes sense. But he's an awesome. He's really, really good at what he does, and it kind of gives you some insight into Chris and his family. And they called the Hakopian family the first family of baseball in Potomac, Maryland, and now just down the road is he going to be hopefully playing his professional baseball after he makes what we all hope is a short, quick turnaround in the minor leagues. And with those bat-to-ball skills and an elite hitter as him, it could obviously be a very quick turnaround before you see him playing for the big club up in the District of Columbia.
And then in the second round, the first Aggie off the board, Caden Sorrell, 62nd to the Cubs.
And, we did a longer sit-down with Caden on Saturday night. I think we talked to him for about 15 minutes maybe. He never talked to the Cubs before he got drafted. So he went out to the Major League Baseball draft combine, did all his meetings there, didn't have a meeting with the Cubs. And then they took him 62nd overall in the second round. He's never been to Wrigley Field. I'm sure that's going to change here very soon. But he couldn't be more excited. And the cool thing about Caden is he's a third-generation Sorrell to be drafted by a Major League organization. Both of his grandfathers played Major League Baseball. His grandfather on his dad's side, Billy Sorrell, was a utility player, played for the Royals. And then on his mom's side, I believe his name's Tom Griffin, a pitcher. Spent a lot of time with the Astros. Yeah. And then his dad was drafted out of high school but went to college because his family valued the degree, and now Caden. So third generation, that's such a cool storyline to follow. And then for me, I think it's always cool when Aggies get drafted to what I consider legacy organizations.
Yeah.
And that'll include Bear Harrison in the 5th round of the Yankees, but we're not there yet, right? Because we got to talk about the guy who went 81st.
Yeah, so I don't know how much I want to share about what I was seeing because it's a private event. It was actually awesome,
and that doesn't surprise me because Gavin's awesome and his parents are awesome. None of that surprises me.
And not only are they awesome, everybody there. I don't know Gavin the way you guys know him, right? But he treated me like he's known me for 20 years. His dad, his mom, they were fantastic. We went to his best friend's house. That the father, Mr. Weens, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, was his little league coach. They all grew up together. They all played. There was a Georgia player that was there. There was all these collegiate athletes that were there that grew up with Gavin. His team was incredible, obviously, in high school. And it was just a great, great event. And it got a little intense. Look, we knew Gavin could go middle first round all the way through the second round, right? And as we're there, we're just watching it. And I'm just starting to think, because it was interesting, I'm knowing a lot of these names, like SEC player here, SEC player there, and I'm like, Gavin's better than half these dudes. And we're at the beginning of the second round, and I'm starting to get frustrated. And the vibe around the room was his time is coming. And then we saw him take a call. He walked out, and he came back kind of happy, right? But I don't think it was a for sure. I think it was one of those. I'm assuming I didn't get to hear the conversation with his agent or whoever called him. But I'm assuming it was like, yeah, if they're interested, we'll do it, right? Kind of thing. That's the vibe I got. And then we had the break, and then they made the announcement, and he's going to his hometown team, the Los Angeles Anaheim Angels.
Yeah, you go out to Orange County. He's from Orange, California, played at Villa Park High School, and he gets drafted by Orange County's team. They go by the Los Angeles Angels, but everybody I know knows them as Anaheim. So just down the road. Super cool story for a super awesome young man, and you mentioned it. We got to know him over the last 3 years, and 2024 was awesome. Think about him hitting a leadoff home run in Game 1 of the College World Series Finals, and being the SEC Freshman of the Year, and then 25, obviously he deals with the injury, but anybody who followed and covered that team can tell you it wasn't like he took a back seat. He was still a vocal leader on a team that had a lot of struggles. He was there front and center in the dugout. And then remember, he was also coaching first base a little bit later on in the year. And then he gets healthy, shoulders all back intact. He's ready to go. And he has a career year. First team All-SEC, All-SEC defender at first base, a position he hadn't really played before, All-American. And you're going to see his name up and down the Texas A&M leaderboards for different stats, whether it be home runs or RBIs in a career in a single season, because he had such a special campaign in 2026. And you love that for a kid who dealt with personal adversity, team adversity, and you can't talk about Gavin Grahovic without talking about his leadership skills. We know what 25 was like. Mm-hmm. We know the noise surrounding the program entering 2026. And he helped reset the foundation, whether leading by example or vocally inside that clubhouse, helped A&M find its footing and have what was a good, not great because they didn't get out of a regional right, but a good 2026 that they can build on, hopefully moving forward. So what he has meant for Michael Early in this program, massive, awesome to see him have a massive, massive day and get picked by the hometown Angels, the Halos.
My biggest thing coming out of California is, how do people freaking do it?
Did you get stuck in traffic a lot or what?
Bro. Yeah, the traffic is ridiculous. It's stupid, okay? It's dumb.
It's bad.
How can when I lived in Houston, I lived in Sugar Land. That was about 25 miles from ABC 13. I understand during rush hour it's going to take over an hour, okay? But Saturday at 3 p.m., it shouldn't take an hour. To go from Hollywood to Anaheim is maybe a 38-mile drive. Hour and 40 minutes. Come on, that's just stupid.
Not surprising. Not surprising at all.
And it's expensive. Everything. Gas, houses, friendships. Everything costs a lot of money. The sunshine costs money.
I was under the impression that your friendship with Juan was free.
That is, but like for me to go see him cost a lot of money.
Fair.
Right?
That's fair.
And I got to hang out with the Granado family. If Houston people will know John and Wendy
that's
Granado.
awesome.
Yeah, we went to dinner on Saturday night. John is a legend. He's in the Texas Sports Radio Hall of Fame or Texas Radio Hall of Fame. Amazing. He was my boss at a radio station, 1516 Houston. His wife, Wendy, was my boss at ABC 13. She now runs KABC. She's like the biggest deal.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal out there.
So it was great to catch up with them.
Well, knowing that you went to dinner with the Granados, I will begrudgingly accept that you didn't give me my Sonny bobblehead. But
we did discuss. I did bring it up with
it's
Juan.
okay.
He's like, "Hey, Holmes, that's a long drive, bro."
That is a long drive.
He doesn't talk like that, but I just like making
it would have been
that
a long, from my perspective, it was a long couple nights of baseball.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're done with that. Sorry.
Hey, let's just quickly kind of sum up the rest of it because I know we have to get to around the room. We've got Bear.
Well, Shane Sadeo in the fourth round
Shane,
to the Mets. Awesome for him. That's a kid who's battled back, obviously dealt with his own injury, adversity. Nice to see him go in the top 4 rounds the first day. Bear Harrison to the Yankees, right? You have this pause after round 4, and you pick back up on Sunday, and immediately there's Aggie action.
Yep.
Again, I said it at the end of the regular season. He was one of the best catchers in the SEC all year long. Respect to Daniel Jackson. Respect to Carson Tenney. They were fantastic. Bear Harrison, a very good hitter in this league, and an underrated defender.
Yep.
Nice to see him go early. And, of course, I'm hoping to hear from Bear Harrison, maybe do an interview with him a little bit later on this week. Just kind of the conversations between him and his brother, if there have been any, because his brother Kyle pitches for the Brewers. Weston Moss, after a delay between the 10th and the 11th round, he goes immediately. That's awesome for him as well. For Weston, I'm going to remember the fact that he pitched through mono in 2025, gutting it out, literally. Yeah. And then think about the ovations he received from the Bluebell Park crowd after his performance against Auburn, and then the roar he let out against Texas State after punching out 10. Awesome to see him get picked. Jace Evangelista is the only transfer portal commit that went. The Red Sox grabbed him in the 14th round. We hardly knew him. But if you're worried about the transfer portal class taking a hit on the pitching side, it's important to remind you that the Aggies and Barry Enright, they are not done yet in the portal. There are still some names, some targets they're going after. The one that comes to mind is Marcos Paz. Of course, a great time to plug the TexAgs Premium subscription because Ryan Brauninger is going to have all of the best info that you'll be able to find on A&M's portal stuff out there. And then the last guy we haven't talked about is Jake Dewar in the 18th round to Arizona. He only spent 1 year at Texas A&M, but really cool to see him get drafted. Remember, he gave you Jack Moss vibes, professional hitter, and it's cool to see guys you call a professional hitter actually become a professional when they sign their deal. We're actually going to talk to Jake Dewar later on this afternoon.
Oh, good.
So that'll be fun.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say at the Grahovic's house, Teddy TexAgs came by.
And Ted Burton's one of my favorite human beings that I've covered. He is an all-time great guy, and of course a little biased because he's a Michigan Wolverine in addition to being an Aggie.
So he was in California.
Well, he's from out there.
Right, but he lives in New York now?
Oh, he's living the dream.
Yeah.
He's just jet-setting all the time.
And his grandmother is in San Diego, so he drove on his drive, I guess, from Los Angeles to San Diego. He stopped by the Grahovic's to be with them for a while and then go visit his family. Couldn't have been nicer. Great to see Teddy TexAgs. Hey, this is TexAgs Live.
It is, and it's presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Thank you for reminding me. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We call this the Go Hour, and that is presented by the warehouse at CC Creations. Richard, what area are we sitting in?
This is the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Thank you for reminding me. The Cool Zone travels, but we're in it, so we don't need to travel anywhere. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is to call us up on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline, 979-693-1150.
You almost caught me off guard.
I know. Or you can text us on the
Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line.
PPE.
Same number, 979-693-1150.
Let's, by the way, I had a question mark on the rundown. I should have taken the question mark off. Dari Noka is going to join us at 8:35.
Awesome.
Sorry, Nick, so I probably need to get that link from you. Look at the face he's making. And so, yeah, we'll have him on the program. We go around the room. We go left to right. We go behind the glass. We say hi to a very upset Nick Savage. Nick,
you can't fluster me, David. Come on now. This is perfect SEC Media Days training for me. So, no, it's no big deal at all.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Richard, tell me a little bit about these two transfer guys. Didn't they commit like back-to-back, like 5 minutes apart from each other on Friday afternoon?
So it's been a busy weekend for Texas A&M baseball. Tyler Minnick out of UConn and Dylan Schlegel out of Dallas Baptist committed Friday evening, right around the time we were all trying to sit down for dinner. Two more big right-handed bats for the Aggies. And if you've been following along with our portal discussions, that was something that this portal class was lacking. So important to get those two guys through the draft, and they survived it. So that's awesome. It's going to be interesting to see what they can provide the Aggie offense. Tyler Minnick was actually, I believe, he was an all-conference player at the Big East in 25. Had to deal with an injury this year, so didn't appear in as many games for the Huskies. And then Dylan Schlegel is a kid from the DFW area. Am I getting my players mixed up? He played up in the DFW area at DBU, and he's also a very well-rounded outfielder as well.
All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. That's where we find the Kayla Gaither.
Hi, guys. How are y'all?
What up?
Well, I want to stick with the MLB draft just for a little bit because Bronny put this on the boards and I thought it was interesting. With Bear Harrison being taken in the 5th round, Michael Early has seen 8 Aggie hitters drafted in the top 5 rounds since he began his tenure at Texas A&M in 2022. In the past 10 years prior to his arrival, only 6 hitters have been taken in the first 5 rounds.
It's impressive stuff.
That's really impressive stuff.
Yeah. And not only that, but when Chris Akopian came off the board at 11, it made it 3 straight years with a first rounder. First time A&M has ever done that, and all 3 of them hitters. All 3 of them hitters. Braden Montgomery, Jace Lavalette, Chris Akopian. You want to be a first rounder?
Come to Texas
Come work
A&M.
with Michael Early.
Let's do it.
Come work with Michael Early.
Gaither, what else?
Well, I know we had a lot of baseball news this weekend, but there was also some football recruiting news. Makai Allen out of New Jersey, Don Bosco, committed to Texas A&M, making him the 26th member of the 2027 class. Chase Basantis also played at Don Bosco in New Jersey, so good to see another linebacker come out of New Jersey, Don Bosco.
Yep, that's this class is ridiculous, man.
It's 26 members, 27 members now. They're just
the linebacker room is looking really good too. So.
Yes.
Props to Coach Oko, Derek Miller, and staff. Let's hit a break here. We'll have a short segment before we're joined by Dari Noka of the SEC Network. Right now, we're talking 1775. Look, I'm failing. I have not been to 1775 in a minute, so this might have to be the week that I need to go have some meetings, right? where you bring some clients that you're trying to impress, and you go, hey, let's go to some barbecue, and we go to $17.75. You know, Richard, when you were, thinking about how to propose to Jenna, I bet you $17.75 could have helped out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, actually, Jenna doesn't get to go to barbecue restaurants because she doesn't eat it all, which is good for me.
Yeah, you get to eat it all.
She doesn't eat her food. I eat mine. I eat mine and hers. So
do you eat queso mac and cheese?
Absolutely.
Okay,
and
good.
if I were to take Jenna out to $17.75, we get the sampler and she'll eat like a bird, and then I'll have the rest of it.
That's the way to do it.
Exactly.
$17.75. You're going to get full when you go there. By the way, their dedication earned them a spot in Texas Monthly's top 100 barbecue joints. Call them up, 979-492-6241. It is $17.75. TXBBQ.com at $17.75.
And it's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Welcome back in TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Richard, I thought we could kind of go through some rapid fire, what we're sure about, what we're not sure about, A&M-wise and college football-wise. I'll have Kayla Gaither read us some ideas, and we'll just take it from there. Kayla, are you ready? Sorry, did you see that?
Give me 1 second.
It's on the, sorry, it said 8:20 on the rundown.
Right.
What you're sure about, what you're not sure about.
I didn't peek at your rundown at all, so I'm going in completely blind. So
that's all right.
I apologize.
This is rapid fire fun
audience.
talk, okay?
Let's do it.
Sorry, what's...
I'll read the first one. Texas A&M is a legitimate college football playoff team. I'm not sure.
I'm also not sure. There's the biggest question mark for me is the offensive line, and I think the offensive line's got to be rebuilt to protect Marcel Reed. I am certain that Marcel Reed is better than the national pundits are trying to tell you. I understand the turnovers late were an issue, but if he takes the obvious developmental step from year 2 to year 3 that I think a lot of other quarterbacks are being given the benefit of the doubt for, and he's playing behind a solid offensive line that, by the way, features a returning starter in Mark Naboo in the middle, and then a lot of SEC experience, around him, and Formby and Eccles and Baugh, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some names. But if they can rebuild the front and protect him adequately, I think you're going to have a nice year for the offensive line. That is, for me, is the biggest question. That's why I'm unsure.
All right. There's going to be a lot of unsures, which does not mean that we're down on, well, at least for myself, doesn't mean I'm down. I'm unsure. So let's go.
Next topic is Marcel Reed finishes first team All-SEC.
Unsure. I mean, first off, how many make it? 2 quarterbacks? Or is it 1?
I think they only take 1 quarterback.
So, I'm unsure. Trinidad Chambliss is the best quarterback in the conference.
Yes, exactly.
Until proven otherwise.
I'll take the field there over Marcel Reed. But I think Marcel Reed could play his way into All-SEC acclaim, whether it be second or third team, for sure. I think he's got the talent.
Yep. Next one.
All right, the offensive line will be better than last year.
I'm not sure.
That's hard to beat. That's really, really hard to beat, although they did have their struggles late. Thought that could have been a Joe Morrow Award kind of offensive line, and anytime you're having to fill those shoes, it's difficult. However, give Adam Cushing his props. He knows how to put together a really, really good unit. So I think they could be a very good offensive line, but better than last year, sorry?
No, I'm sorry. A bunch of those dudes are playing pro right now. I don't know that yet. Kayla, next one.
Next one, Texas A&M's receiving core is a top 3 unit in the SEC.
Very sure about that. Are they better than last year? I am not sure if they're a better receiving core. They're deeper than they were last year. I think with the growth we saw from ABR at the end of the season, I expect Terry Bussey and those wide receiver freshmen, I think they are a deeper group than they were last year. Are they better? Not sure about that, but I do think they're a top 3 wide receiver group in the SEC.
Can't forget about the addition of Isaiah Horton, because losing KC Concepcion, that's huge, right? That's why there's a lot of people who are unsure, but Isaiah Horton's a great addition. Mario Craver could be a first-team All-SEC receiver. I'll go with you. I think this receiver core is absolutely a top 3 unit in the league.
Kayla?
Next one, Texas is the best team in the SEC entering the season.
Unsure.
I'll go
would
with
be
Georgia
more sure about
until
Georgia.
proven otherwise.
Yeah. And I think Texas's schedule, now, I saw our friend Brooks Austin think that Texas has got no flaws on their roster. He tweeted that over the weekend. Maybe, but that schedule is a flaw. It's a tough schedule.
It's a 9-game schedule in the 9 SEC game schedule for everybody. It's going to be difficult for everybody, including the Texas Longhorns. But again, I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs until proven otherwise.
Kayla?
Another SEC team, Alabama will make the college football playoff.
Not sure about that at all. They got a first-year starter at quarterback. Not sure.
A lot of noise, a lot of pressure around Kalen DeBoer too. That's going to be difficult to deal with. I'm not sure on that either.
Some other noise, LSU is more likely to make the college football playoff than not.
Nope.
No, I think they're I'm pretty sure that they are more likely to miss the playoff than make it.
Yep, I agree with that.
First year head coach,
quarterback who's injured.
Sam Leavitt, be fully healthy in over a year. There's a lot of excitement in Baton Rouge, and deservedly so. However, there's a lot of question marks to answer to.
Next one, Indiana is here to stay as a national power.
I'm sure about it.
I am as well with their head coach. Absolutely. And once you win, it's most difficult to break through. Now, they say it's more difficult to win the second one, at least as far as repeating. I'm not sure if the Hoosiers are going to repeat as national champions, but I like Kirk Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Google
look,
him. He wins.
They went to the playoffs with 2 different quarterbacks. They won a championship with a transfer quarterback. They've got Josh Hoover this year. Yes, they're legitimate. Last one.
Also
Last
helps
one.
that Michigan's down in that league.
This is true.
Big Ten has surpassed the SEC at the top.
I'm sure about that.
At the top, I think so. I think about Indiana and Ohio State
Michigan.
and Oregon. Well, Michigan and...
Well, I'm just saying that they won a national championship
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Michigan and Penn State, both with new head coaches, that'll go a long way to determine that league's staying power. But outside of Georgia, it feels like the SEC is a field of the best of the rest. Texas has jumped up from time to time. A&M has jumped up from time to time. LSU and Alabama have big question marks. So the Big Ten is very top heavy and better at the top right now. But the SEC still, I think, is deeper and a more, it's more of a grind on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, but what does that mean if you're not winning at all? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, SEC's got to get back to the top.
Yep. All right, let's hit a break here. When we come back, Jari Noka of the SEC Network. Right now, we're talking about Rollo Insurance. I believe in Rollo Insurance. First off, I know the people that work there. When you know people that work somewhere, you feel really good about not only your business, but just the relationship there that's going to steer you in the right direction. I have Morgan, who takes care of my insurance needs, but they got a whole crew all over Texas, 60 offices. But what comes to mind when, excuse me, when you need insurance? You need somebody who's going to answer your phone calls. You need somebody who's going to steer you in the right direction. You're going to make sure that you're not paying for stuff that you don't need. They do all of that for you at Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. As I mentioned, their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. The phone number is 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. And we're back, TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I see this guy on TV all the time, but I only get to see him in person when we go to SEC Media Days. We'll be there this weekend in Tampa, leave on Sunday. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. SEC Network and ESPN's own Dari Noka joining us here on the program. What's up, Dari?
Man, what's up? I look forward to Tampa. It's time to start talking some football in big rooms with other people who want to talk football face to face, man. I'm excited about it.
Dari, this offseason has been really interesting from our perspective. It was shorter than usual. When I mean by shorter, even though A&M won and was an 11-win team this season, they lost in the first round of the playoffs, so it just felt like a little bit longer because they were eliminated from playing earlier than usual. But then we had a lot of off-the-field topics throughout the summer, and I feel like that's becoming norm, and I'm sure for you to fill up your show, there's so much more stuff beyond what happens on the field and on the court. There's so much like of the politics of college football taking over the airwaves.
Yeah, just follow Ross Dellinger and you get all of it, right? I mean, it's one of those, yes, you never know what you're going to get, right? I mean, between court cases and new NCAA policy and who's going to argue those policies. And that's kind of been the offseason, it feels like, to me anyway, ever since NIL became a thing, right? I mean, it's pre-NIL and transfer, the multiple time transfers, it felt like the offseason was really just, all right, let's predict this and let's predict that and let's try to guess who might be the surprise team and so on and so forth. But you go back to since 20 or 21, I mean, it's been, off seasons have been full of, what do we do about transfers? What do we do about NIL? Now what do we do about court cases? What do we do about this 5 in 5 years and all of these different things? So, it's funny because we talk about all these things, and I think this time of year, I don't know about with you, but I mean, I sense it too, or I sense it where fans are just like, man, this game's going to eat itself, and I can't follow this anymore, and it's driving me crazy. And then when we get to media days or when we get to week 1 of the season, it's like everybody just kind of forgets about all that other stuff, and we just start talking about teams on the field. We don't worry about who transferred in from where or who transferred out. If they're wearing your team's jersey, you're in on them. And that's why I think I'm so excited just to get kind of to Tampa and start talking football, but then really dive into the regular season, and the focus can be about what's on the field.
Dari, I also think it's interesting that the game, while it feels like to us old heads not as healthy as it once was, it's still just as intriguing and maybe even more than ever because the playoffs have added that element to it. And I'm going to compare it to something. Do you remember when LeBron started going to other teams and joining his buddies, right? And we felt like, oh, what's happening in the NBA? I don't think the NBA is as good of a product. That might not be because of that, but people were still watching. They were still involved. This is kind of that era of college football where players have the ability to move, and it may frustrate fans, but it's still a great product on the field.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're still watching. Everybody's still watching, whether it's attendance numbers or it's television ratings. They're higher than they've ever been before. The TV ratings are higher than they've been. So, yeah, people are watching, right? We want to complain and all of that. But I think that college, not just football, college sports fans, I think the vast majority of us and them understand that this is just kind of what it is. And we're not going to ditch what we do every Saturday. We're not going to ditch the obsession that we have Monday through Friday or Sunday through Friday, getting into Saturday, because these things have changed. I also think that there's still this hope in some way that things will kind of get reined back in. Never to the point where it was before, but in some way there will be some control placed over this kind of Wild West world that we're living in right now. But bottom line is, like, the beauty of college sports is we're all raised in a place where there's a team nearby, or we went to school where there's a team, or dad or mom went to school where there's a team, right? And we all from a very early age, if we're in a college sports area and from a college sports area, outside of the Northeast, it's just kind of our obsession from a young age. And yeah, it might be changing, but to your point, the on-field product is as good as it's ever been. And I think to some of us, the element of surprise really being back for the first time in a long time makes it even more intriguing. I was just looking through a preview magazine just literally 15 minutes ago, and I jumped in the Big Ten, and I was just kind of scrolling through, and I'm looking through their predicted order of finish. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, Michigan, USC, and it didn't even hit me that Indiana's second, because Yeah, I can see that. Makes sense. Like any other time you see that and you're like, that's ridiculous. Am I looking at basketball or what? But it's new, but it's kind of becoming the new normal. And I think that it's pretty fascinating, to be quite honest.
Daria, I'm reading an article, or I read an article this morning from CBS Sports about teams that they expect to regress. On that list, it actually had Ohio State. Now, regress Ohio State, that might mean they win one less game. But it also it had A&M and Oklahoma on there. And I'm just curious, first off, from an Oklahoma perspective, do you think they take a step back?
I don't. No, I think expectations around Oklahoma are incredibly high, to be honest. They've really, Jim Nagy, the job that he did, not necessarily just bringing players in the portal. His number one goal is retention. And the retention that he's had there, he's kept everybody that he possibly thought could be a starter on this year's team, and he's added a few pieces to it. John Mateer's improved health, the complete remaking of the tight end room, experience added on the offensive line, defense losing a couple of stars, but also they had so much depth on that side of the ball. No, I don't think there's a regression. I think there's a hunger and a full expectation that that's a playoff team that could win a game or two in the playoffs. So I'm not buying it with Oklahoma, and I'm not trying to do this with crimson colored goggles either. When I look at this team and talk to the people around that program, I don't think there's any regression to be expected.
What about with A&M? I mean, to me, regression it automatically goes to record. You could be a better team with a worse record, right, because of the schedule you face?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think the question there starts up front, right, on the defensive side. I know the secondary should be really, really good, but can they get a pass rush? Can they establish a pass rush? Losing a Cassius Howell obviously is huge. Marcel Reed cut down on the turnover numbers, right? We saw some great periods of football from him, and we saw some shaky ones. And at the end of the year, you didn't get the best of him. To win, it's been 3 decades since they won 10 games back-to-back years or something. It's not something that they've done in recent history, but I'm a big Mike Elko guy. I am a Marcel Reed guy. But yeah, to your point, like if they go 9-3, is that a regression? I guess in terms of number it is, in terms of record it is. But look, 9-3 could still manage to somehow get them in the playoff. It didn't for Vanderbilt last year, but A&M's schedule strength should be a little higher than Vandy's was last year. So I think if they get to the playoff, regardless of the number of wins, I don't see a regression whatsoever from them.
Daria, where are you on Texas? Incredible transfer portal class. They have a very good roster. Last year was a step down. They go 9-3. They played well at the end, but they still had those hiccups early, or the Florida hiccup, I should say.
Yeah, it'll start with the offensive line like it did last year. I mean, that obviously cost them a little bit. It should be a little bit better this year. I think Arch is going to be really good. Is he the best quarterback in the league? I mean, a lot of people seem to think so. Give me Trinidad Chambliss to hold that mark, but no, I think Cam Coleman obviously can't ignore. They've remade the running back room. Defensively, they're going to be really good. So all the expectations are there. But all the expectations feel like are there every year with Sark. And while they have gotten to the playoff a couple of times and gotten into that semifinal round a couple of times, their expectation is to win this thing. I think there's a lot of pressure on them. The first sign of something going wrong, I think, in Austin is going to really make it more difficult for them to just focus on football and continue to win. So I think they should be really, really good. But history says let's just wait and see what it looks like on the field.
Last one for you, Dari. LSU. I'm struggling with them because they have such a brand new roster, but it's Lane Kiffin. If he touches a quarterback in the coaching carousel, or when he touches a quarterback, good things happen for them. And, from Jackson Dart to you name it, those guys have put up big numbers.
Yeah, and Sam Leavitt expected to do the same thing. That's the most fascinating team in the league, I think, for a lot of reasons. Lane Kiffin certainly the most, but I think that's a team that if they lose a game or two, they shouldn't lose. You could start to see a real quick crumble in Baton Rouge. I think clearly there's talent there. Maybe, the biggest get was probably Jordan Seaton, the offensive tackle from Colorado. I think that's a massive get right there with Leavitt. They've got pieces in place. Trey'Dez Green is a nasty weapon at 6'7" and tight end. And whether you line him up, however you want to line him up, he's certainly a phenomenal player that is uncoverable really by most in this league. But again, how is he received in the locker room? Is there any weird off-field stuff that kind of comes up? It's been an interesting offseason in Baton Rouge already from everything that I've heard. So, remains to be seen. But that's the one where I think Texas and LSU, if you see early signs that it's just not going well, what does the rest of that season look like? And those are a couple of situations that I could see them. Sure, I could see them deep into the playoff, and I could see them both kind of crumbling with a year of massive underachievement. Either way.
Dario, we'll see you next week in Tampa, man. Hope to hang out for a little bit.
Yep, sounds great. Well, thank you.
Thanks, man. Dario Noka there on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his few minutes. I know he's got a show that's about to start. Right now, we're going to break. We'll come back. Richard will finish out the segment with us, or the hour with us. Right now, I want to talk to you about Heritage Films. My good friend is Chance McClain. He runs that company. And kind of like I told you with Rollo, when you believe in somebody and their vision, you're just all in, right? And when Chance McClain, first off, he's going to believe in your vision because he becomes friends with all the people he does these documentaries on, right? When he does a documentary for you or your family business or your family ranch or just your family in general, eye in the sky, I'm telling you, you're going to start inviting him over for just like football games, to watch the Aggies play, for Thanksgiving. He's just a good old boy that you're just going to really enjoy being around, but he's going to enjoy being around you and telling your family's story. And these documentaries are first class. Like I'm talking first class, 2-hour style, Netflix style documentaries. Check out the website to learn more about it, yourheritagefilm.com. That's yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state, the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, visit tx.ag/Texas Aggie. That is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Check it out. Ricardo Zane joins us again on TexAgs Live. His name is Richard Zane, but I like to call him Ricardo. I just want to read this from David Edmond. I see if I lost it already. I love David Edmond, but I dislike 97% of his takes. He says, Dari's the biggest OU homer. Ask him if the Sooners can make the playoffs last year, if the refs know the rules, yada, yada. Okay. Can I just tell you something, guys? You already know because I already told you what I was going to talk about. You can do both. You can be a homer and still be neutral on a neutral show. How do I know that, Richard?
Because you've done it.
I've
for
done
years.
It. Yeah, that's exactly what I just told you. It's like I'm parroting myself here. You can do both. Have you ever, I don't know, trying to think of an equivalent situation at work or with your kids?
Well, I mean, how about in what I do? If I go, I'm an Aggie. Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
I graduated from this university, class of 19. But I tell this to our interns and everybody who goes and covers a game for us. When you're in the press box, just because you're an Aggie, don't let that get in the way of telling the story. What happened? Win or lose? If they lost, I'm not going to put lipstick on a pig. I'm going to tell you exactly why. I'm not going to let my maroon-tinted glasses get in the way of doing a good job.
Look, I also think, depending on your audience, it's not that you play it up, okay? That's not what I mean. But when you tell your parents a story, and you tell your kids the same story, and you tell your buddies the same story, they're all different versions of the same story. The way I talk to my pals, the way I tell a story about my high school days or whatever, accomplishments or failures, I think I would tailor it different based on who I'm telling it to. When we interview for a job, we're giving a certain version of ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. It is truly who you are. Well, some of us, who you are, but it's also like a version of yourself. So I think you can do the job. I could go to the SEC Network tomorrow, host a segment there, and people would say, oh, he's just an Aggie. That's true. I am. And I'm going to root for A&M no matter what. But when I tell the story, I can still tell the story. When I was at 13, unfortunately, I say it now, and I didn't think of it then that way, I would lead with Texas sometimes. Sometimes you just, because that's the main story. Sometimes you lead with Baylor. You can do multiple things at once.
What I like about the SEC Network and all of their personalities, whether they are hosts or analysts or reporters, they allow them to show their allegiances or their alma mater, their school pride. Think about Alyssa Lang, South Carolina grad. They talk about it all the time.
They do.
Chris Doering, Florida. They do this with Tori Vidalis as well when she's on their softball, baseball coverage. That's okay. It's okay, but I don't think any of them on that network allow their allegiances to get in the way of doing their job, or else they wouldn't have a job.
David Edmond says they can do both, but they don't. Nuno, it's clear that the national media has a bias. You know how you change that bias? You do something about it. You win. Like, I don't like that certain broadcasters will bring up certain things and but who cares? It has no bearing.
Dave also lives in Oklahoma, so he probably hears a little bit more of Dari being a Sooner, because that's the audience. Dave, I'm sorry. You are behind enemy lines, my guy.
You have a friend that went to Texas that listens to this show.
I do.
And I'm sure they're delusional, right? Like he probably thinks that, or she. He or she.
Probably, maybe.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think he's delusional. Or she.
Yeah, or she.
He
whoever.
is definitely delusional.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. Richard, you want to stick around or you want to go? Because I got an open segment.
Well, you're my boss, so you tell me what you need.
Stick around. We'll just chit-chat a little bit. All right, we'll do that on the other side. We've got some football topics to get into. Then I do want to play part of our interviews. He had Caden Sorrell. Were you alone, or did you have Brauninger with you?
It was just me and Caden.
Caden Sorrell. And then I have the interview with Gavin, and then we'll have Brauninger on the show. So a lot of baseball in the next hour, but we'll start off with football. You're listening to the world-famous TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers. And we're back. TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Richard, going to stick around for one more segment. Let's kind of go into that article I referenced with Dari. I don't know if you saw it. CBS Sports' Cody Nagel. I've never met Cody. I hope to meet him sometime. College football regression candidates. Ohio State A&M projected win totals fall in 2026. He says, or the byline says, these 10 teams will be hard-pressed to improve on last year's regular season success.
Sure.
This is not talking about postseason success. So as I mentioned, the first team is Ohio State, but we're focused on A&M. We can work our way back to those here in a moment. But what it says about A&M, 2025 regular season wins 11. FanDuel win total 8.5, which we knew that, right? And it says the Aggies finally experienced a long-awaited breakthrough last year, reaching 11 regular season wins for just the second time in program history. Following it up won't be that easy. I don't want to read the whole thing because I don't want to take away from CBS. But basically, it says the Aggies matched a program record with 10 selections in the draft, yada, yada, yada. It'll be hard to make up those wins in 2026. Captain Obvious there.
Yeah, it's very, very Captain Obvious. They won 11 games. The only room for improvement is to go 11-1. Again, that's not even improvement. Or to...
But Richard, they only won 11 games because they had an easy schedule.
I disagree.
I
mean, they
disagree
went up
too.
to Notre Dame and beat a team that, barely, narrowly missed out on making the college football playoff. You had to beat them in their house for your first road-ranked win in over a decade. That's not for nothing. Now, it is a much more difficult schedule this year than it was last year. But that's not to say that last year's schedule was easy.
We weren't saying that last year at this time, though.
No, I agree with you.
Because if you look at the road games...
Talk about going to Baton Rouge,
going
to Austin.
And South Bend.
And South Bend. And correct me if I'm wrong. No, they had Columbia
Columbia
at home.
Missouri.
They're going to Missouri back-to-back years?
Yes.
Yeah. And Missouri was a good team.
Yep.
So it's a tough schedule this year. What is LSU? We don't know. But we know as Aggies going to Death Valley is never easy. Unless you make it look easy, like they did in 25. Got to go to Tuscaloosa for the first time in a couple years. Got to go to Norman for the first time since you were in the Big 12. Could be cold in November as well. It could be a team that's a playoff team or fighting for its playoff life. And then, of course, the game that everybody circles is on Black Friday against Texas. Never going to be easy, regardless of what the records say.
Let me ask you this. Did Texas Tech have an easy schedule last year?
I thought so.
Okay. How often is that mentioned? I mean, it is mentioned. But people don't hold it against them the same way.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, now it's mentioned. They put in the Big 12, but like with A&M, how dare they think they're a national power? They had the easiest schedule. Blah blah blah. I'm just going to read you. And by the way, I'm not saying Ole Miss had an easy schedule, but let's see who Ole Miss played last year. Okay, and by the way, Ole Miss earned it in the postseason. I recognize that's the difference. It's like Indiana.
Well, how about we look at the Indiana national championship schedule?
Regular season, because they earned it in Miami. Earned it in the postseason. But
Yes.
who did Indiana play?
Indiana started the season with Old Dominion. Then they played Kennesaw State and Indiana State. That's their non-conference. Illinois was ranked in the top 10 when they beat them 63-10. Impressive win.
They finished in the top 25 too, right?
Yes. Iowa. They won at Oregon.
That was big.
Big win. They beat a number 3 team in Eugene. Michigan State was terrible. UCLA was terrible. Maryland, terrible. Penn State, terrible. Remember, they had to pull a rabbit out of their hat to win in State College. Wisconsin, terrible. Purdue, terrible.
So you've told me a lot of terrible teams that they beat. Now, this is not, to me, I'm not taking away from Indiana by any stretch.
Well, no, especially when you see they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And then they beat Alabama, Oregon, and Miami.
Yeah, they earned it. Miami played in the ACC. A down conference. They did beat Notre Dame like A&M did. They got them at home. A&M had to go on the road and do it. But they earned it. They beat A&M and they beat everybody in front of them minus Indiana.
What do you think Texas Tech does against Texas A&M's schedule last year?
I think they're pretty good. I mean, look, talent is talent and they have a really good coach. I don't think they go 11-1.
I would agree with that.
I think they're a 10-2, 9-3 team last year. And
I'd lean more 9-3, 8-4.
Yeah, probably. I mean, probably. But I don't, just because they play in the Big 12, I'm not going to completely disregard them because I think from a talent perspective they're there. But they lost. They like A&M. They had an opportunity to shut everybody up by winning in the playoffs, and they didn't. Okay, They got beat up pretty good by Oregon.
Yes, they did.
All right. They didn't score a touchdown, right? They didn't score anything, if I remember correctly. Wasn't it like 19-20-0 or something like that? Or maybe it was 20-3. It was whatever. It was a beatdown. And it never felt like they had a chance in that game.
23-0.
23-0. There you go. So, and by the way, it got me thinking out loud, guys. This year, if you look at what the coaches' polls have said, Brett McMurphy from On3, I believe, interviewed all the Big 12 coaches. Two things that I want to say here. First off, the Big 12 coaches, according to Brett McMurphy, are picking BYU to win the conference. I believe that is a slap at Texas Tech for the whole Sorsby situation. I think that's why. But all the other betting sites, FanDuel, you name it, have Texas Tech winning the Big 12. Now, take a step back from that. Find me another playoff-worthy team that loses their starting quarterback before the season starts, and they're still expected to win the conference. I know during the Saban days, you could have probably said that about Alabama several years, okay? But if Marcel Reed were not the quarterback, let's say he caught the flu and had to miss 5 games, whatever, I don't know. I don't want to put any
bout with the
let
flu.
me not even use A&M. A playoff-worthy team loses their starting quarterback. Are they being discussed right now as a playoff team today?
I don't think so. Especially not in this league or in the Big Ten.
No, they're not. Maybe in the ACC. If Darian Mensah at Miami goes down, right? They're not. People aren't picking them. Maybe in the ACC they might.
Maybe.
They might. Okay. But if I don't know, Gunnar Stockton went down for Georgia, they might be the one team that I could probably still believe in the SEC. Like, okay, I can see it happening.
Well, especially, I mean, they proved it a few years ago when Stetson Bennett stepped in.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. If Arch went down for Texas, I don't think people would be picking them to win the conference.
It's the most important position in all of sports. And when you lose your starter who takes the bulk of the reps with the ones, it is a massive blow. It's much more of a blow than losing a receiver or a linebacker or a man in the secondary. It is a massive, projection,
seismic shift.
Overview, yes. Massive shift.
Okay.
Massive hit.
Trinidad Chambliss goes down for Ole Miss. Are we talking about them being a potential playoff team?
No, because then we start talking a little bit more about Pete Golding never being a head coach in the SEC in the regular season.
Exactly right. LSU. If Sam Levitt's Liz Frank injury is a legit, I know they say he's healthy, but let's just say he's not 100% healthy and he can't start or he doesn't get to play. Do we think we're talking about LSU in the same way? No. That's why I find it interesting about the Texas Tech thing. It is all about the conference that they play in. It's all about who they play. I don't know if Houston is going to be as good as advertised. I think that they won a lot. I think they were 6-1 in one-score games last year, amongst the best in the country. But they struggled in certain areas. I don't know if Houston is that level of team. I don't know if BYU is that level of team. I don't know if Colin Klein is going to be able to turn Kansas State back around. They only won 6 games last year. Are they going to be a legitimate threat to Tech? BYU is the only one that could be, in my opinion.
Well, I'll go ahead and shout out our guy, Connor O'Gara, because I agree with him. It was always BYU's year, even before the Sorsby situation.
He did.
So
he
I
has
like
said
the
that.
Cougs to the Cougars, right? If I say Cougs, people will confuse that with UH.
Yeah.
I like the BYU Cougars to ultimately win that league, and that was with Brennan Sorsby.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got a better coach than Joey McGuire, and that's no disrespect to Coach McGuire, who's done great things in Lubbock.
Yeah.
I just like BYU. I think it's BYU's time in that league, and they don't play each other in the regular season.
Right. The only way they'll play each other is in the Big 12 championship game. And I can still see, I still think Texas can be really good. The quarterback, his name escapes me right now, but he played a little bit last year. He was injured.
Baron Morton?
No, it was the other one who's supposed to be the starter this year. His name escapes me, but
Will Hammond.
Will Hammond, thank you. Regardless, I don't, this was about A&M and it kind of morphed into Tech. But it's just interesting how people, going to David Edmonds' point earlier about how narratives and people have their biases, I think that is true based on what your perception of a program is, right? Your perception of that program does not change until they make the change or if their conference changes their perspective, right? Texas left the Big 12. Oklahoma left the Big 12 recently. I know A&M left it too. And that put a different shine on Tech. They had the money, they had NIL, it all made sense, right? their situation changed and their conference changed, which has made them more of a media darling in that conference. But the facts are the facts. They're not playing anybody this year at all as of right now. And A&M is playing somebody. And last year they played somebody too, and people want to hold that against them. But I do agree with
playing a lot of somebodies this year.
They are. But they were playing a lot of somebody's last year. Now, the other team, and I brought this up to Dari, that FanDuel apparently only has that Oklahoma winning 7.5. I find that hard to believe. I've seen them in most places as a playoff team.
To me, it seems that these gambling sites, these projection models, don't know how to handle the 9-game SEC schedule yet.
I don't.
We don't. I don't know. The committee does, and the committee is going to be the one that's most important. But even look at Georgia. Georgia, we think, is the best team in the SEC. They've got them at 9.5.
As Texas, too.
Yeah, 9.5. I mean, I think Georgia's a double-digit win total team. I think they might win 11. But it's just going to be so tough with the 9-game conference schedule this year.
What if the top team in the, and I said this last year, and it wasn't even close to being true, but what if the top team in the SEC is a 9-3 team?
Very possible. I mean, and I think the SEC's got to get multiple 9-3 teams in the playoff if that's the case.
Yeah.
It would be a first.
Let me ask you this. All right, let's just for a moment hypothesize. You join us for this, Kayla. Okay. If, just for this exercise, don't get mad at me.
We're mad already.
Georgia goes 9-3. Texas goes 9-3. They're the two best teams in the SEC. A&M goes 8-4. In that scenario, I think they win the Texas game in that scenario. Okay, just so everybody's not mad at me. All right. Does it change the way we look at 8-4 if the two top teams in the conference are 9-3?
I think a lot of things and our perception of those various things are changing with the new scheduling model. Like it has to. It has to. This by the same token, you have to look at 10-2 in this conference differently than you would in the past.
Yeah.
Because 10-2 in 2012 didn't get you into the national championship. It didn't even get you into a quote-unquote New Year's Six Bowl because the Cotton Bowl wasn't a New Year's Six Bowl back then. But everyone knows that 10-2 in 2012 was a great year. 10-2 in 2026 will also be a great year, but it'll be a better version of great, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. The other teams on this, which their win totals, like I was surprised to see this. Ohio State's win total was 9.5.
Again, I would think that'd be higher. Especially, I don't know exactly who they drew in the Big Ten. I do know that one of their big games is, maybe the game for them is probably a little bit easier than in the past. They get Michigan at home.
But they get Texas week 2.
They get Texas week
on
2.
the road.
So I think, do they have Indiana on the schedule?
They do have it. They are at Indiana.
Okay, then that makes sense. I think they're still a 10-win team because that Michigan game's probably their swing game.
They host Oregon.
Oh, wow. That's a tougher schedule than I thought.
They go to USC.
That is a pretty good. Wow.
Yeah. So, and
Big Ten didn't do Ohio State any favors this year.
So let's just, for right now, go through how many top 25 teams that they're expected to play. Illinois is not going to be well, they might. Who knows? Iowa, they're at Iowa. Okay. That's always a tough matchup. I don't know about for Ohio State, but I don't consider them in this.
You don't just walk into Kinnick Stadium and win.
Texas, Indiana, at USC, hosting Oregon, and the Michigan game. Those are 5
good games.
Solid games on their schedule.
And that's more than you can say for most Ohio State football schedules in recent memory.
Yeah. So Ohio
most
State,
Big Ten football schedules in recent memory.
BYU is also on this list, by the way. BYU, the team that a lot of Conor O'Gara and a lot of coaches have winning the Big 12. Their win total is 8.5. They won 11 last year.
Interesting. They have the quarterbacks back, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're number 47.
Let's see.
It's a weird number for a quarterback.
Yeah.
47?
It's a thing.
That's weird.
It is very weird.
Georgia Tech, no longer our guy there, Haynes King. They're expected to win 6.5 after winning 9 last year, and they were a fun team. They got a great coach. And you know who their quarterback is?
I do not.
Fernando Mendoza's brother, Alberto Mendoza.
And that automatically makes Georgia Tech David Nunez's third favorite team.
Yeah, they're in the mix.
It's going to go Texas A&M, large gap Miami, smaller gap Georgia Tech because they got a Cubano under center.
You know what's interesting in the NFL? I don't follow it the way I used to, obviously. Texans are probably my team, right? I'd say the Texans are. But then I've got a tie for second place.
Who is it?
I mean, I've got the Dolphins, not because of Miami per se, because of Devon, right?
Vaughn.
I mean, Fernando going to the Raiders. I mean, I got to put him in the mix.
Where do my Lions, led by
they're in the
Aggie
mix too?
Dan Campbell
Absolutely,
himself?
they're like I think at this job it allows me to watch the NFL differently.
Yeah, it does.
Like I root for where our guys are.
What about the Rams? Are the Rams on that list now because Miles is?
But
out
they
there?
have to be. I was talking to the Granados about that. Like they were already one of those teams that people said could go to the Super Bowl. You know where the Super Bowl is this year?
It's in L.A.
Which means they won't make it because that doesn't happen.
When they won their Super Bowl before, they won it in their home.
Was that in LA also?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, so maybe history repeats itself.
The other question, it's a much more difficult question for you and I guess all of our Houstonian Aggies. Von Miller does what he teased and signs with the Cowboys.
I don't hate the Cowboys like I used to. When I was a kid, I hated them. But A, working with Olin, B, they're like Madrid. They're like your Dodgers, the Yankees. There's just a mystique to them that I can't. That documentary on Netflix, it had me in my feels, man. It was great.
You're talking about the America's Sweethearts, right? You're watching the DCCs? Okay.
The DCCs, huh?
The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. That documentary on Netflix.
Sorry. No, there was a documentary.
I know.
You know which one?
America's Team.
Yes,
with
where
Troy,
EJ, our friend, was in it as a little baby, right?
Yes, yes.
Let me just do one more team, and we'll call it a wrap for this segment. Ole Miss. Their win total, according to FanDuel, this surprised me, 7.5.
There's so many question marks, and I think a lot of it is surrounding Pete Golding. He kind of did he catch lightning in a bottle last year with that playoff run? I think he deserves all the credit in the world for getting them within a play or two of going to the national championship. But managing the regular season is a different kind of grind.
I think you look at what he did and say, wow, that was an amazing coaching job to finish out a season with a lot of turmoil. But I think you look at this year, completely different lens.
Sure.
Right? And sometimes I think you are forced to make a decision based on what's best for our team right now, and what was best for that team right now was keeping him. We're about to find out if long-term that was the right decision.
And it very well could be, and he could prove it this year.
Yeah.
And he seems like a good dude. He's got a good quarterback, a likable quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss. Now that Lane Kiffin and his dramatics are out of Oxford, I think the Rebels could be a fun team to follow if you're looking for a second team.
I lied. One more team I wanted to throw out here. I was surprised this low of a win total.
You just pulled a Liucci.
I did. I lied.
One more question. Actually, one more team.
Vanderbilt. Their win total is only 5.5. I mean, that's like I feel like that's the old school Vanderbilt. They still have the same head coach.
Their head coach, Clark Lee, is one of my favorite guys. I like listening to him at SEC Media Days, but it's the post Diego Pavia world. What does that look like? Now
Vanderbilt's legit, man.
They've got a true freshman 5-star, or the highest signee they've ever had at quarterback.
Could have gone to Georgia.
There's going to be some learning curve there.
Yeah.
But I trust Clark Lee to, one, Vanderbilt's not going to be an easy out in any given game they play, but also to get them back to where they were competing this past season.
All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back, let's listen to Richard's interview with Caden Sorrell. We'll follow that up with Ryan Brauninger, who's going to join us, talk about the state of the Aggie baseball program and the future looking ahead. Right now, if you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. Had lunch with the crew last week. Just smart, good people that you're going to really love, A, where they want to put you, and also just getting to know them. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA, all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call at 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Hey everyone, David Nuno of TexAgs Live, and I'm here with Brandon Moreau of Brazos Valley Floor and Design. They're a family-owned business, and Brandon used to work for the A&M football team, the Texans, you name it. Brandon, tell us a little bit about Brazos Valley Floor and Design.
Yeah, like you said, family business. We started in 1999. It was in a small feed store, and about 4 years later, my dad decided he wanted to grow the business and kind of focus on that. So we're in the location we are at now, and we have a large showroom with salespeople with designer experience, a lot of stocking power. and we catered a lot to residential, builders, and we do a little commercial work as well.
Tell me about your other company as well, Premier Countertop Design.
Yeah, Premier Countertop Design is right there on site, so it's kind of a one-stop shop. People can come by, they can look at their slabs that they're going to cut, they're going to compare to their cabinet colors, their backsplash that they're going to do at our flooring store, and we have a lot of digital. We're doing a lot of digital stuff. We're templating, water jet, laser measuring, all different things like that.
So tell me a little bit about what sets you guys apart from the rest of the competition.
I think just being here in the community for 27 years in business, and our vendors that we have the relationships with, the pricing we can get because of how much we can buy in stock and things like that. And then as far as the countertop business, it's just the way we can be precise with what we do.
All right, there you have it, guys. Check out the website, bbflooranddesign.com and premiercountertopdesign.com. And we are back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Enough of me. Let's listen to part of Richard Zane's interview with Caden Sorrell after day one, second-round pick here in the MLB Draft. Here's Richard and Caden Sorrell.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome in to a TexAgs exclusive. We're joined on Zoom right now by one of the newest professional Texas A&M baseball players. Of course, earlier today, Caden Sorrell heard his name called in the second round when the Chicago Cubs took him 62nd overall. Caden, first off, congratulations, man. Super awesome to see your name pop up today. But set the scene for us, right? Where were you taking in the draft? Who was with you? and just all the emotions and festivities of the day. Take it away.
Yeah. So woke up this morning, obviously woke up a little early, woke up before the alarm went off, was definitely a little nervous, definitely a little bit stressed out. This is something that I've wanted so bad since I started playing baseball when I was 4 years old. So it means a lot to me, a lot of jitters. And then, woke up, got out of bed, got ready for the draft, have some high school buddies down here with me. My girlfriend's down here as well. My sister's down here, all my cousins, pretty much the whole family's down here. Most of them live in San Diego, so didn't have to, fly too many people out. But went over to the grandparents' house around like 11 o'clock. My grandpa, Tom Griffin's always kind of been a huge fan of mine, loves watching baseball, and he's always kind of been there for me. So I thought it'd be pretty special just to kind of, share the moment with him. So went over to his house with everybody, sat down on the couch, and just kind of waited there patiently to hear my name get called.
Couple things we'll chat a little bit more about. First off, the family connection, right? Those of us who are watching the TV broadcast learned that both of your grandfathers played Major League Baseball. Super cool. Not too many people can say that. And then the other aspect, you talk about getting up before the alarm goes off. I can only imagine that the excitement and energy for us, non-athletic regular people is kind of like the first day of school or opening day where, something big's about to happen. So you wake up really excited. That's super cool. Now let's talk about the announcement, right? Because there's two parts of it. And those of us who are new to the Major League Baseball draft don't understand that drafts or that deals and stuff are made ahead of time before the announcement's made on TV. So when you get the phone call that lets you know you're going to the Cubs at 62, who's on the phone on the other side? What are they telling you? And then the actual announcement, when you're sitting back on the couch waiting for people to actually hear it, what are the emotions like then?
Yeah. So again, like the draft happens really fast. Picks go by pretty fast. Again, sitting on the couch, pick 60's kind of rolling around, and the agent calls me. Finally, had been I felt like I was sitting on the couch for a total of 24 hours. Just kind of eager to hear my name get called, and he called me. It was kind of a sigh of relief. Told me kind of right then and there that was going to go to the Cubs, and I was ecstatic. I just main thing with me is I just want to get out there. I want to play baseball. Baseball is what I love to do. So I'm really excited just to get out there and play some more baseball, and not have to worry about anything else. So yeah, and then watching it on TV with the family was amazing. They went crazy. Was just overjoyed to have every one of my supporters around me. Was kind of tempted to not tell them the team just so I could get the reaction, but told them that it was the Cubs before the pick came around, and they flipped out. It was great.
Yeah. So who'd you hug first?
I hugged my mom first, kind of just, hugged the first person I saw. Hugged my mom, my dad, my whole family, my friends, girlfriend, but first person was the mom.
Yeah, that's the right answer. I think you got it right. You talk about
Yes,
the Cubs. You're excited to begin your professional career, but it's the Cubs, right? This is a legacy organization in professional baseball. So what were your conversations like with that organization, if any, leading up to it? And then talking with, officials from them since they announced the pick, what have those conversations been like? And, what did you know about the Cubs before today?
Yeah. So before I got drafted, I never really had talked to them too much. I talked to them a little bit in the fall. I had talked to them a lot in high school. They showed a lot of interest in high school, but obviously, that didn't work out in high school. Again, talked to them in the fall. And that was really the last time that I had talked to them. My agent had been talking to them, but it's kind of hard to gauge what team's going to pick you, when draft day comes. So I hadn't talked to them at all until I heard my name. And then, right away got a call from one of the scouts, gave me a big congratulations and, excited to have me. And then, talked to the GM a couple hours later as well, and kind of relayed the same message, excited to have me and get going. And, I was kind of in the same boat. I'm excited to get going, excited to get down there, get back to work, and continue playing baseball.
Have you ever been to Wrigley Field?
I have not. Obviously, I've seen a lot of stuff just because they're such a historical team, and obviously, I know about the wall. The wall is really cool, having all the vines down there, and they have a really passionate fan base. So I'm, super, super excited to just be able to experience that.
Yeah, as someone who has been to Wrigley, that's my favorite ballpark I've ever been to. You're absolutely going to love it, and hopefully, you can play there for many, many years for the Cubbies themselves. Professional baseball's been a little bit of a family business for you, right? We talked about it. Those of us who watched the TV learned that both your grandfathers played in the big league. So tell us the full story. Tell us about them, their careers, and also your dad was drafted, so it makes you a third-generation Sorrell to get picked in the Major League Baseball draft. Super cool.
Yeah. So very blessed to, have just the baseball background in my life, being able to grow up around it and pick my grandpa's brain about it. My mom's side, Tom Griffin, he was a pitcher, played for quite a while. I think 14 seasons, bounced around a couple of different teams, mainly with the Astros. And then my dad's side, Billy Sorrell, he was a utility player. I think played for 3 seasons, if I'm correct. Didn't really get to pick his brain too much. He passed away when I was pretty young, unfortunately. And then my dad played as well, got drafted out of high school by the Red Sox, went to college instead just because his parents were big on getting a degree first. And then unfortunately ended up getting hurt his junior year and had to quit after that. But yeah, it's been amazing to, have guys like that in my corner, guys that I can just talk to and rely on when I'm thinking about something, worried about something, stressed about something, or just curious about something and then want to find out some information, can always go to them, and they're always there for me. So it's amazing.
Awesome conversations. I can only imagine you've been able to have with your grandfather. Has he ever told you how he would attack you and try to get you out as a pitcher to a hitter?
Not really. Actually, I think I asked him that last week. We went to breakfast and we're just talking about baseball. And I did ask him that. Gave me the stereotypical, like, I'll probably attack you heaters up in the zone and then, back foot slider. And so, that's how he would attack me.
Fun. What's next for you, right? What's the Cubs plan for you? What do you even know that yet? What next can be, we're going to dinner. So what's on the schedule right now?
Haven't heard anything. I mean, I'm sure I'll get a lot more information as the days go on. I'm sure I'll hear some more tomorrow. If I had to guess, I'll probably have to be down there within the week. I think that's usually how it works. You usually got to get up and going pretty fast after the draft. So probably sometime this week I'll head down to, I want to say, Arizona. Again, I don't really know anything, but I'll hear more tomorrow probably. So, if we had this interview tomorrow, I would have a better answer. But again, I don't have any idea what's next.
That's all right. It's going to be a whirlwind for you in the future, and we're very much looking forward to following you as you begin your big league journey. But that's what's ahead, right? Let's go ahead and close the book on the past, right? Texas A&M. What has this place meant to you over the last 3 years since you arrived on campus?
Yeah, I mean, it's meant the world to me. I haven't ever really had the time, or I guess I just haven't really explained to the 12th man and the fan base how much they have meant to me. But truly, like, coming in here as a freshman, they just kind of welcomed me with open arms. They've always been there supporting for the really bad games and obviously the really good games. They've always been there kind of by my side. And I can't say enough good things about the 12th man. I mean, amazing fan base, in my opinion, as well as many other people's opinions. It is the best fan base in college, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, you name it. I don't think there's a better fan base than the 12th man. And, it's hard to just put it all into words, just the emotions that they bring me, but they mean the world to me. And I hope that, the fans realize that. And I can't say enough good things about them.
Yeah. What about Coach Michael Early and also your teammates here at A&M.
Yeah, early has been a big reason.
All right, we're going to hit it here. When we come back, Ryan Brauninger will join us right now. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you own a business, you know that like your vehicles, especially those mobile companies, are such a big part of what you do. And when you're looking for a place to find your fleet of vehicles for your job or your service, go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have commercial vehicles to meet all of your everyday needs, and their staff is incredible. A bunch of Aggies work there. You want a good price, you want good customer service, and just good people, you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. I went there, bought our Tahoe. It was a great experience. Whatever you're looking for, just know that they're going to stand by their word. And trust me, you guys know I ran into a situation recently with another dealership around town that was not cool, right? They stand by their word. You should go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. All right, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joined by Ryan Brauninger. Talk a little Aggie baseball draft, how it went, well, MLB draft with a bunch of Aggies drafted. Ryan, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, Nuno. I apologize if I sound awful. I've been dealing with probably the worst head cold I've had in my life for the past 3 or 4 days, so trying to fight through it, get to the other side. But my entire household's kind of down in the dumps right now, so that's why I'm not in there with you.
Well, I apologize. Well, I feel sorry, not apologize, but I feel sorry for you, buddy. Let's talk a little bit about Chris Hakopian first, and we'll go through the top 3 guys and kind of work our way through the draft as well. Hakopian going to the Nationals. What a great fit. What a great storyline to go kind of home.
Yeah, and it's good for Chris. He mentioned with TexAgs that he grew up a Nationals fan, and Chris's pick at that spot, which set a record for Texas A&M, Chris's pick at that spot was an indicator of what was going to be valuable and highly coveted in this draft, and it's bat-to-ball skills. And the more that you swung and missed, it seems like the more your stock fell throughout the course of, especially that first day. But Chris went about where he was expected to go. I know MLB.com had him at 14, but right there at 11, hometown team, and you got to feel super happy for Chris. And it's a little bit bittersweet because we didn't get to see him fully healthy for an extended period of time at Texas A&M, and you just kind of left wondering what was on the table had he been fully fit for his entire season here. But still, came in highly regarded, left as a top 15 pick, and something that Michael Early and the Aggie baseball staff can definitely sell going forward.
How about Sorrell going 62nd overall to the Cubs?
Yeah, and I thought when I was talking about the draft ahead of it, the word with Sorrell was just volatile because of that swing and miss factor, and he had more of it this year than he had in years past. But you just felt like somebody was going to fall in love with the tools, fall in love with the upside. And, when you look at the Chicago Cubs, their best player right now is Pete Crow Armstrong, left-handed hitting outfielder with some sock in the bat that had some swing decision issues as a young player in the minor leagues. And so maybe they saw a little bit of that with Caden Sorrell, and they decided they were going to go on it. But, yeah, he might have fallen a little bit more than what you thought until I was getting text messages throughout the first day of the draft about, swing and miss has been just a killer for guys. And if you have a swing and miss profile or they have attributed that to you as part of your player, your scouting report as a player, it's going to hurt your stock. It did. And so I think that's why you saw Sorrell take a little bit of a fall. But I didn't think it was too crazy. Like I thought that was about right. He's going to get a nice signing bonus, a nice piece of change to get his career started. And I know Richard talked to him at length after the draft, and he was pretty pumped about where he fell.
Talking to Ryan Brauninger here on TexAgs Live. We were going back and forth when I was with the Grahovac family. Your thoughts on him ending up also at home with the team? And I think I said this in the interview with him, Bronny, but he didn't have to look far for that hat. He had it at that house. He had it ready to go.
Yeah, in other words, it's cool, man. It had been like, had the Rangers drafted Sorrell, it would have almost been like a 3-for-3 with the Aggies getting picked by their hometown clubs. But, Gavin, just off the charts human being. I could not believe that he slipped the way that he did. And he went to an organization, I know it's his hometown team, but, the Angels haven't been known for a lot of smart draft picks and a lot of smart organizational decisions, but they made one on draft day with Gavin Grahovic because, look, I couldn't sign off on him as a human being and as a player any more than I have since he's been at Texas A&M. But when you look at kind of what they've got in their minor league system, I think Gavin really fits and fits a profile that the Angels were looking for. They want some versatility, some better athletes, and some guys that with some proven track records in college. And you go back to, like, they took Nolan Shanuel, they took Christian Moore. They like the college bat that's got some experience and got some skins on the wall, and Gavin fits that profile well. But then also, he's just such a safe bet. Like, it's such a high floor pick for me to get him in the third round. I thought was a steal.
Well, what about the rest of the guys? And we can start off with Shane going to the Mets. How good of a fit is that for him? And just give me your thoughts as you look at the rest of the guys going on, and then we'll kind of work our way to the guys that potentially could come back.
Yeah, Shane, I was super happy for him, and like we said, the numbers taking a dip this year, they weren't really going to affect him as a draft prospect because of the Major League Baseball, their scouts, they see through the results on the field. They look at potential, they look at ceiling, and they're going to look at the best of Shane and go, okay, like the best version of him can pitch in this league, like he can pitch in the major leagues, and they indexed it on a kid that was coming off of Tommy John with a body that was probably going to take it a little bit longer to fully bounce back. Shane's a long, gangly kid, doesn't have a lot of mass to him, and so it's not crazy to think that it took him longer than expected to bounce back from that surgery. So I was very happy for Shane, very, very happy that he's going to get a chance to pitch at the professional level. But I also think it's a good indicator of what Major League Baseball looks for and how you can't always extrapolate out college statistics into value of a prospect.
Talking to Bronny here on TexAgs Live. Bronny, let's talk about Bear. I mean, we saw, especially, I don't know, what was it, a third into the season where he just started going and going, and definitely one of the top catchers in college baseball in the SEC.
Yeah, and for Bear, I talked to a scout that was like, Bear Harrison, if the bat will keep going with him, he's like, that guy can play in the major leagues, and it may not be as like a premier catcher in the major leagues, but he can play as a big leaguer for a long time because he does everything well. And the comparison that was made for me by a scout was Christian Vasquez, which was the Astros. And guys like Christian Vasquez, because you play a premium position and, you have all the tools to do it, and they may not all be elite, but they're all very serviceable, that those guys always have a job. And there's been some catchers that have bounced around, and some of them have come through the Astros organization, like Vasquez. Think about a guy like Robinson Chirinos as well, or Martin Maldonado. Like, these aren't guys with elite tools, but they handle the baseball behind the plate. Their bat is functional enough. They're not an auto out. And they play a decade in the big leagues. So if Bear can fight his way through the minor leagues and get to a big league organization and a big league clubhouse, he's got a chance to stick.
Bronny, Weston Moss, I was hoping that maybe he would want to come back, but he goes in a good spot. What do you think about Weston there going 316th to the Nationals?
Yeah, I mean, Weston, again, you're looking kind of past the college production, especially this year. He had some really big moments early in his career at A&M out of the bullpen. It's a starter profile that could fit into the bullpen as a professional player. Right now, it's still changeup over fastball. I think that's kind of why you saw his stock fall a little bit. And he will need to get with the right pitching coach and continue to develop the overall arsenal because, it was just, and I also thought there was a little bit of, with Weston, like, who do you want to be? What are you as a pitcher? Are you this emotional guy? And that's fine. Then be the emotional guy. Are you a guy that wants to be more stoic? Then be that guy. I think he was just kind of stuck between two minds on what he was as a competitor on the mound and how he wanted his emotion and his personality to come out on the mound. But I thought I was encouraged by his fastball numbers late in the year. You saw him tick up 96, 97 miles an hour. Then obviously his last outing as an Aggie, very, very impressive against Texas State in the regional. So, yeah, happy for Weston and hoping he can get with the right pitching coach in the minor leagues to continue his progression.
Bronny, I'm running out of time, unfortunately, so let me just ask you a two-part question. Clayton Freshcorn, what do you think about him potentially coming back, or do you think he's going to end up playing pro ball? And overall, the thoughts on what shook out for the Aggies and who and what this roster looks like?
Well, TBD on Freshcorn. I think we'll have an answer sooner rather than later. The Cardinals' 20th round pick was also an insurance pick, and he's already announced that he was coming back to school. It's Colin Ritchie at Oklahoma State. So he was picked one round behind Freshcorn by the same club, and he's already announced that he's going to return to school. I think conversations are going to be ongoing between Coach Early, Coach Enright, and Freshcorn about the possibility of Clayton coming to Texas A&M, but the Cardinals picked him as basically an insurance policy. Like if one of their early round picks doesn't sign or somebody fails a medical, then they'll have some money freed up to add to his signing bonus. But as of right now, I have not heard of anything like that happening. So kind of stay tuned on the Clayton Freshcorn front. We'll see what happens. I'd still slightly lean toward him signing a professional contract, but Where I was maybe 5% that he was going to return the day after the season ended, I'm up north of 40% now. So, and you could even call it 50-50 because when you look at just kind of all the factors that go into these guys, organizations, they typically sign their top 10 rounds. Like it's kind of an outlier when they don't sign a top 10 round draft pick. And so if the Cardinals sign all those guys that they picked in the top 10 rounds, then I think Clayton Freshman's going to come back to school.
Thank you, Bronny. Appreciate your time, buddy. Yep. Bronny on the line. From East Texas to DFW, from Houston to the Hill Country to right here in Bryan College Station, we're talking about Guaranty Bank and Trust. They've got 33 amazing locations across Texas, and every single one of them operates the same way. Local decisions, local people with a local heart. That's the beauty of Guaranty Bank and Trust, and that's very rare. Most banks have gotten so big they forgot what it means to actually do community banking, but Guaranty Bank and Trust never did. They're committed to Texas since 1913, and that commitment has not wavered. They want to grow strong in their community. It's not just a tagline. It's how they decide what they do, what they fund, what to support, what to show up for. Financial education, home ownership, small business, local nonprofits. They are in it for the long haul, and their market president is Brandon Sears. He leads the Aggie team. He'll tell you himself this isn't just banking, it's building something together. It is Guaranty Bank and Trust. Check out the website, gnty.com, or go to Guaranty Bank and Trust. And you can Guaranty Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Let's have a football text thought anything in the last 5 seconds so people don't get that mad.
Well, I did have a forum question that I wanted to get to on the other side, so I can tease it and say,
Okay.
do y'all like blackout uniforms for A&M football?
Yes.
I kind of like them. What game would you want?
Okay, I'll think about that at the break.
Think about it, and we'll talk about it.
All right, we're going to hit a break here. We'll come back. I think Billy will join us right away. It's TexAgs Live. I've noticed that everybody wants to upsell you in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say what airline I took, all right?
Oh, gosh.
But, you know, there's one that stands united with America that sends every 12 minutes an email about upgrading this, upgrading that, upgrading this. Hey, you want more leg room? Here's $13 more. It's actually more than that. Hey, you want to be in the group that gets into the plane 10 minutes earlier? It's another $117.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, you want to bring luggage? Oh, $150 more. I'm not saying that could, but this is like, I'm trying to erase emails coming in. I got like 32 emails. There's a company that takes you from place to place. Same thing. Like when I say place to place, like a car. Hey, you want to, for $7 more, you can ride in a bigger vehicle. What's bigger than a freaking Tahoe? Like a bus? What am I going to go in?
Limo?
People, please don't just constantly spam my email and like ask me for more money. I have zero. TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. As we figure out the Billy Liucci situation, we're going to find out what's popping on TexAgs today.
Yes. So before I get into what is on TexAgs today, just want to say it's never a better time to be a TexAgs premium subscriber. You can get all of the information that our employees put out on the site before football season starts, before fall sports ramps up again. You can be in the know and you can get all your information that you need before football season starts. But on TexAgs today, we have overviews from every Aggie drafted to the MLB over the weekend. There's also an in-depth look at Gavin Grahovec's draft party with interviews from him throughout the memorable day. And then later today, we will have a Jake Dewar Q&A after he was drafted. So lots of baseball content on the site. But yeah, just make sure you're getting that premium subscription so that you can be in the know for all of our fall sports coming up soon.
So you had a question. You want to reset the question? We'll let people text in the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. Their answer to this. I think this is an interesting year for your question to like figure out what game it is.
It is, yeah.
There's only one game I think it makes sense, but go ahead.
I also think there's only one game where it makes sense, but here's the question. So, which game would you want A&M to wear blackout uniforms? Some want Arkansas and some want Tennessee. And this question was from Ty Holden on the message boards over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
I had someone text in also. They said only black uniforms one time a year. I agree. But we want to know which games you want to see the black uniforms for the Aggies.
I think the only game that makes sense is Tennessee.
I think so too.
Right? Yeah. I believe that's a PM or night game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Arizona State game, I think, is an earlier-ish game.
It's an earlier window.
Is it the 11 a.m. or is it the...
I can't remember, but I know it's not a night game.
Nick will have it because he's smart and he remembers stuff and I don't. So, Nick, as you Google your smartness.
It's 11 a.m.,
okay.
Of course.
Yeah, I figured it was early. The birthday weekend, so I remember that specifically because my wife was saying what we're going to do. I'm like, what we always do. Watch TV and fall asleep. Watch the SEC highlights. Anyway, I think the only game that makes sense is Tennessee. Am I right that Tennessee's is an afternoon, the PM game?
Yes.
It's Tennessee. It's not going to be Texas.
No.
Okay? You're not going to do it for that game. You're not going to do it for Kentucky. Like, I don't think you are. Arkansas, I understand the argument for Arkansas, but I think you wait till November the 14th.
Yeah.
And do it against Tennessee. If I am picking which game to do the blackout for, that's the game I'm picking the blackout for.
I'm going to cast my vote for Tennessee as well. Arkansas would be my next guess just because it's Arkansas and that rivalry has been going on. We're not going to Dallas anymore. So it would be cool to have a blackout, but I think we wait until November for the blackout. I think it makes sense. It'll be colder then too, so it'll be really cool to see the blackout uniform. The lights at Kyle Field last year too were really cool with the blackout uniform as well. So my vote is Tennessee.
Yeah, sure. Tennessee makes the most sense, and yeah, I like it one game a year. I don't need it multiple times.
No.
But I have gotten to a point. It's what the uniforms don't matter as much to the older folks as they do the younger folks. So your generation.
Yeah.
And the players, that's who to me decides that. Like if you guys want it more often than not, it should be what the music that's played at Kyle Field, it should be what gets the players in that right state of mind, what they want, what the fan base wants. It's not what, I want. Because when I was at school, they wanted to play my parents' music. I'd have been like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to listen to opera from the 1930s. Like, I'm good. I don't want to hear Pavarotti at Kyle Field. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. I remember being at the game in 2023 whenever Power was back and everybody was wondering if they were going to play Power when they walked out. I remember being at that first Aggie football game and it was electric.
In 24?
24, yes. So I remember being there.
That was like the loudest crowd pop I think I've heard at
Yeah.
Kyle Field.
It was insane. I mean, just being in the student section, you could hear everybody's excitement for the first game of the season. But yeah, the blackout uniforms, I think once a year is perfect. I don't think we need to overdo it at all. But it's really cool last year seeing a new tradition kind of unfold for the blackout uniforms. And yeah.
Yeah, I think black one time a year is great. I think the fact that Tennessee, hopefully that game matters on both ends, right? Like, I hope Tennessee is better than. It's interesting when you talk about like what you want your opponents and your rivals to do.
Mm-hmm.
I always want them to win, except, right? Like I want that game to matter, but I also enjoy when a team is not good. So when I start pontificating about the future of the schedule, I'm not as worried because looks like Oklahoma's not as good as we thought. But it doesn't matter when you go on the road because it's the road in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we'll just wait for Billy. He's almost here. We'll probably just go for another 2 or 3 minutes. We'll hit a break so Billy can do the remainder of the program. That's what we'll do. So we don't need to call him there, guys.
I have another question as well.
Okay, and I bet you I've got an answer.
There you go. All right, so Athlon Sports put out a list for college football's biggest trap games for
They do a
playoff
lot of
contenders.
lists.
They do a lot
They're
of lists.
a list company.
It's kind of nice to look at their lists because then you can ask the questions on the show
Sure.
and you get some content. But they said for Texas A&M, no surprise here, I think, November 7th at South Carolina.
That's not a trap game. That's a hard game.
It's a very hard game, in my opinion. But they're labeling this as a trap game.
I understand why they would, but I have too much respect for going to South Carolina after going. I've only been there twice.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't go this year. I've been there twice. A&M was favored in both times I went there.
Maybe you should stay away.
Yeah, right? And those have not been good games. I don't consider that a trap game. If I were to look at the A&M, and I understand why it would be labeled as a trap game. I think as of right now, the trap game, could it be Arkansas?
It could.
But I don't
know.
New coaching staff, new play. I don't know. Could it be Kentucky? I guess it has to be. I mean, could it be Missouri?
I feel like every year it's between South Carolina and Missouri. If we're talking about a trap game, I think South Carolina has been a game when we go to South Carolina, it's always like, we have to, it's never a guarantee that we're going to be favored or win or whatever. So that's always like a question mark. I feel like going to Missouri, that's the difference in like a trap game versus a question mark game.
Well, but to me, a trap, if Missouri falls out of what expectations, right? Obviously, they have a new quarterback. They have a different team this year. Coach Elko has dominated Drink in the 2 times that they have faced each other. But that being said, that team, if they are not a top 25 worthy team, that becomes a trap game because I do have respect for what they have there. But in essence, the trap game is South Carolina. I just don't personally look at them as a trap team because I just think that they're going to be significantly better than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
We're looking at what they were. Were they 4-8 last year? I think they were 4-8 last year.
Something like that.
So they're significantly better than their record. And this is a must-win year for Shane Beamer. They have Kendall Briles taking over the offense. They've made some additions to the offense, and they're at home where it's, And think about it. Last year they were bad, and they were trucking A&M until they weren't.
The first half of that game, nobody in that stadium thought A&M was going to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did, you had some real hard faith in the Aggies. But yeah, I think this year South Carolina might look like that 24 team again when they were really good. Lenora Sellers was on his A game. But yeah, they were 4-8 last year. But I think South Carolina will be a tough battle for sure.
Yep. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back. Billy will be in studio, and we'll chit-chat with Billy. We'll ask him this question.
There we go.
We've got some baseball to get into. We've got some good football topics for Billy for the remainder of the hour as we get ready to leave for SEC Media Days. Still got 6 days to go, but this is the ramp-up week. We got the MLB All-Star Game Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
So, today's Home Run Derby and all the goodness that happens there at the All-Star Weekend. Milliken Reserve Time. Farm-to-table community in College Station. They have homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. If you haven't been there recently, you're missing out. I mean, what do you not like the earth? You should go love the earth. Go to Milliken Reserve and enjoy trees, enjoy grass, enjoy your family, enjoy nature. Be together, but just be outdoors, get that vitamin D, and enjoy being together. They're committed to maintaining and restoring that natural habitat. When you go there, you'll see the white-tailed deer, you'll see the songbirds, you'll see the rabbits, you'll see the turtles, you'll see it all out there. And it's a great place to go hiking, biking, canoeing, you name it. They got it all at Milliken Reserve. You can learn more by getting a Milliken Reserve Conservancy membership, and you can do that by learning it at millikenreserve.com. That website, again, is millikenreserve.com.
Everybody, David Nuno here from TexAgs, here with some of our new friends from Frog Slayer. We've got the CEO, Ross Morrell, and the VP of Revenue, Jacob Stone. Ross, I want to start off with you. Who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
Yeah, Frog Slayer is a custom software, AI and automation company. We're based here in College Station. We've got about 50 employees right here, almost all Aggies. We've been doing this since 2005, about 21 years. Really what we do is we partner with business owners of growing businesses. And our goal is to come in, help them actually realize the promised technology in their company so they can create a company that is worth more than is tomorrow, that is today, and run a better business.
Jacob, I do want to ask you what's different about Frog Slayer's approach when it comes to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't just do AI, we do AI right. And so what that means is we embed ourselves inside of our client's team, and we help them plan, build, and ship solutions that they can deploy to a production environment that anyone can use.
All right, Ross, I've got to ask you, why the name Frog Slayer?
Yeah, it's an old riff off Mark Twain quote. So he said, the hardest thing you got to do today is eat a frog. It's best to do it first thing in the morning. So that's kind of our ethos of doing hard things first. And it's also a nice tie into gigging.
Yeah, I love that. Jacob, let's close out. Where can we all find Frog Slayer?
Yes, you can find us online at frogslayer.com.
All right, thank you very much to both of you, Ross and Jacob. Check out Frog Slayer.
We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner Steelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I believe Billy was just here a moment ago, and he walked away. Is that him? Oh, okay. So, greetings, Billy Liucci. We are live here on TexAgs Live, just so you don't say anything that'll get us in trouble. Got a lot to talk about over the next hour. I got a couple of football topics to get into with Billy, some recruiting stuff to get into from a football side of things. Had a big weekend there. And then obviously the MLB draft. We'll get into that with Billy as well. Where the guys went, and also potentially what the roster could look like if things shake out a certain way here this upcoming year. How was your weekend, Billy?
Not as good as yours.
It was a good weekend.
I wasn't in sunny California visiting all the old friends, but
yeah, I saw the Granados, saw Juan. It was great.
That's
it was a good
great.
weekend.
That's great. I liked everything we did with Gavin. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. And
that's where he went.
It couldn't have worked out. Well, let me rephrase that. I think I wanted him to go much higher, as we all did, right? But if the opportunity to stay at home where you grew up, right, a team that you rooted for, and you're still in the second round, still a top 85 pick. I mean, it worked out well.
Oh, it was great. I mean, you always want to go higher, but in baseball, I mean, I know it all matters. Everything's slotted and whatnot, but I mean, honestly, with as much money as college baseball players of his ilk are making nowadays, they're making so much more. In the last couple of years, the amount guys like him and Sorrell and Jace and this level of Prager, this level of player, Hakopian, what they make, it cuts into I went this many slots below it. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Everything matters. But I mean, ultimately, it's the goal is to make it to the big leagues.
Yep.
You are making so much more in college than you would have, in this path to the big leagues from when you're done with college up. I mean, it's not even so. To me, go to an organization that, in this instance, not that the Angels have been the best, but just the path and the idea that he could end up playing in Anaheim for the Southern California baseball team is freaking awesome. And I absolutely believe he will. I think he and Sorrell and Hakopian, all three of those guys, we're going to see in the big leagues sooner than later.
Yep.
I mean, I don't quite put it on Braden's path in terms of how fast.
Well, that's been ridiculous.
But I think still, I mean, it's baseball, so fine, two of those three. But I think all three of them have what it takes to get there and get there pretty quickly.
Yeah, what was the stat you had of Michael Early since he's been involved with Texas A&M?
Since he's been at Texas A&M since 2022. Let me find it really fast so I can be accurate.
I believe it was
8 Aggie hitters have been drafted in the top 5 rounds since he's been here. And in the last 10 years, only 6 hitters have been taken in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah. I mean, it's something. And look, that's just now the transfer portal era. Braden Montgomery was kind of already that guy.
Yep.
I do think he had his best season at A&M, though. Chris Hakopian was that guy. But that still leaves 6. And I think, what was it, the decade prior, they only had 5?
I think it was 6.
6 in the first
6
5
in the decade
rounds.
prior, yeah. So,
yeah,
I mean, he's doing, I mean, there's no doubt we've seen what this lineup does. We saw it this year. We saw it in, 24. We saw it in 22. I mean, we see what this lineup does, and he's been the key cog in that, in terms of when he was the hitting coach and then now. And I think when they recruit bats and they recruit position players, I think if you're wondering about a guy and you don't feel like you know enough, which is a lot of times the case when it comes to high school baseball and, various levels, okay, if you take a Braden Montgomery, you know what you're getting. Chris Hakopian, you knew what you were getting. But a lot of these guys that are coming from the lesser programs and kind of transferring up to A&M, I think it's fair to give Mike Early the benefit of the doubt and assume that these guys can hit.
Yeah.
Or at least that they have what it takes to hit when they take their tools and he's allowed to work with them. And now we need to get the pitching there.
Yep.
And that's what they did when they hired Barry. Like, I mean, I think they're 1,000,000% convinced that they've got that version of Mike Early on the bump.
Yeah. Alan, the young man from Don Bosco who just picked Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Mackay, just talk to me a little bit about him, what you've seen, and I mean, their linebacker room is starting to look good.
I love because last year's class as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they signed it was 4 last year that are promising, and then to do that and add the 3 this year, and I was a fan of the first edition they got out of Texas. Okay, well, he's just a 3-star. Yeah, he's a 3-star that picked you over Miami, who's doing some pretty nice things on the football field right now, last I checked. And I just loved his tape. I was glad that they went and took him early. And, you know, then you go get a 5-star out of Tampa, who's a Caden Henderson, an absolute game changer. And then you go and do this. And Mackay has been a guy that they recruited from day one. I love the fact you're getting players from IMG and Don Bosco. But they recruited him from day one. Physically, he's like so ready to go, you know, in terms of his stature and build. But you watch him tackling machine, very physical, flies to the football. Like he is, I mean, I see why they prioritized him the way they did. Mm-hmm. And I think all 3 of those guys, I think all 3 of them are I'm excited about individually. But if you get, to me, they got, of the 3, they got 2 of the top linebackers in the country. And I didn't see exactly where Mackay was ranked, but 2 of the top 3, I think, in the country when you're looking at them. And by the country, I mean, is he a top 20 linebacker in the country? That's, to me, that's one of the tops in the country.
Well, Billy,
and they haven't done that at that position.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, to me, it was such a big deal to get the guys you targeted and get like what you consider elite, because for so many years we've seen A&M fall just short of these guys. Even Mike Elko has, been here for it. He's seen A&M fall just short on Nakobe Dean. He's seen A&M have Christian Harris committed for a long time and miss out. He's seen A&M have Harold Perkins committed and lose out. He's seen them have Ant Hill committed and lose out. You can go all the way back to like a Corey Nelson. And like we all know, this used to be linebacker U, and it's not to say they haven't had some good ones. Terrell Dodson starting in the NFL, Edgerrin Cooper, obviously. But the reality, and Buddy Johnson, they've got one right now that I think can really play in Sanford, and maybe more than that. But at the end of the day, that's a position that I don't think they've recruited at the level that they have some of these other positions, and this class is of that level.
So according to 247, Mackay Allen is the 15th ranked linebacker.
There you
go. So top 20, like you mentioned.
I mean, if you're getting top 20 players in the country at a position, I don't know what my cutoff is, but that's falling inside that cutoff. Because then it comes down to, that means everybody wanted them, and then it comes down to, can you develop them? Because everyone seems to think they have what it takes to be really high-end SEC level.
And they've got how many of those top 15 already?
That'd be an interesting question. How many top 20 players in the country at their position? I mean, off the top of your head, you think they've got one, they've got 2 at safety, they've got 1 at corner. And it's not the only corner they have, but we're trying to think of like top 20 in the country at their position. They've got 2 along the offensive line for sure. I don't know if they have a third, if one of those other 2, but 2 for sure. They've got, obviously, I think probably maybe 2 receivers, certainly 1, maybe 3, but certainly 1, if not 2. They've got running back. No, I don't know where your tight end is in that. Linebacker, they have 1. Miles Smith for sure on the D-line. Zion Forstall for sure on the D-line. They probably have 3 on the D-line minimum. So, I mean, you're getting to around like at least, like you're starting to get towards like damn near half the class is going to fall into that. Well, I want to look that up during the commercial.
Nick is
okay. Good.
Nick is doing that right
top
now.
Top 20 at their position. Just use 247 since we're on it, or whatever you want to use. But
well, and Billy, there was a time when I first got the TexAgs, and I'd hear, "Oh, this kid came from New Jersey." This kid, I was like, "Oh, that's foreign." Now it seems like every class you're littered with guys around the country.
Well, and it's also, if you look at Texas, the state, you see more and more going. Now Tech is out there getting everybody, and it seems like they get guys in the top 10 though. So there's certain guys in that top 10 in Texas nowadays that A&M and Texas aren't even really pushing on.
Yeah,
most of them they are, but there are some that they're not, and that speaks to like what the Aggies and Longhorns are able to do and are doing nationally. You look at both those schools in the state of Georgia. You look at A&M in the state of Florida right now. You know, they did go up and get Chase Basantis out of New Jersey, Tyreek Chappelle out of Philly. You can go all over the country right now and recruit if you're not just A&M, but in the SEC and playing at the high stakes, high value NIL level as well. So, like, if you're one of the haves and you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, like, it's as easy as it's ever been to go out and get guys nationally. And now you're having to fight. Like, you look at some of the fights Mike Elko and the Aggies have been in for some of these players, it's crazy. Like Ohio State for Henry and you know, God, like some of the 5 stars in this class that they're going after or that they've gotten. You think about the battles, Miami for a Miami product in Mark Matthews. Like it's insane who they've had to fight off. And these are like real fights. These are not, these are not like little battles that they're fighting there. They're fighting Georgia for almost every player they've gotten out of that state because they're not going below Georgia's cut line. They're not. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 they have over the last couple of years, but most of those guys, Georgia would snap up in a second. So you're having to go in there and beat out Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. It's really impressive what they're doing.
I will have for you an exact breakdown here in a moment, but according to 247, 18 guys are top 20 at their position on A&M's recruiting list or commitment list.
That's really impressive. But now, I don't know what they're doing on the O-line. If they're doing tackle, guard, I would just say O-line. That would be my 20 there. Because, I mean, now you're starting to go, if you do tackle interior, you're going 40. That would be one little cutoff I would do.
Yeah.
But D-line, I would just say D-line. But still, it doesn't matter. Like, and they did it last year too. I mean, they did it last year too in a lot of instances. You look at Arrington and Gregory and Perry Wright, just for starters. Just off the top of my head, I can think 4 or 5 in that class alone. So they're starting to get, if you're not paying close enough attention to what they're doing, particularly on defense, where they're adding elite of the elite from the high school level, and then we know what they're doing in the portal. But like, just kind of pair together the last 2 classes, particularly like on the edge and in the secondary, and it really like, whoa, like it really jumps out at you.
All right, we'll get the rest of those numbers on the other side. Right now, we're going to head a break. Fratella, all right, Billy, you got to choose something for me. I know you've picked stuff for me before, but I'm going to give you a couple different options this time.
Okay, I went last night.
Did you really? What'd you get?
I got the chicken. Gosh, what is that called? It's the kind of the Alfredo chicken. Chicken nose.
Chicken nose.
Yeah, it's Alfredo. It's like a chicken parm. It's got the parm cheese.
Well, they've got it. I'm reading this. They got hearty lasagna flavored with flavor and chicken parmesan cooked just the way you like it. So the chicken parm, big fan of that there.
Chicken parm's great. Lasagna is incredible. I've said before the eggplant parmesan is really unique and really you can't go wrong with that if you like eggplant.
I am not a big dessert guy, but when I do get dessert, I like cheesecake, and they say they got cheesecake and tiramisu there too.
I've not tried. I'm not a big tiramisu guy, but the cheesecake we did have last night, and it was it's fresh in-house, fresh every day, and it is so good. There are not many. You're not going to find a better cheesecake in town than that one.
Stop by Fratella Cafe, 3901 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Discover why it's more than a meal; it's a tradition.
Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy, I do have a football conversation topic for you here in a moment, but I'm going to let Nick finish sending me the list because he does have the exact breakdown for us. You wanted to look something up during the break, though?
No, I was just looking up like the 2-year. And by the way, in this class, like, I don't know where that cutoff's going to be. It's going to be interesting to see. Is it somewhere along it might be Jaden Upshaw where we get, but I mean, I top 20 I put out there. 20 might be deeper in this class than I think. But I mentioned like the defensive backfield and the D line, and if you look at a 2-year snapshot, 2-class snapshot, Kamari Dorsey might be as good as any safety in the country prospect. Maybe as good as, he's up there with, what's our boy's name from the Chargers that played at Florida State? Exceptional NFL player. I always forget his name, but he's a Pro Bowler. But Kamari Dorsey, like prospect-wise, looks that damn good. And Jaquan Snell, it looks that damn good to me. But Kamari Dorsey, Jaquan Snell, Raylon Henry, who's now, starting to become almost a consensus. Like everybody's going to have Henry as a 5-star, and they're going to realize he's on that exact same level as John Meredith and Dobson, the other 5s. Like Henry is, you go watch his, anybody watch his tape. So Snell, Henry, and Dorsey, and then you go back to Brandon Arrington from last year.
Right.
And there are other guys too that are really people are really excited about, even in just this class at DB. But I'm just saying, look at the top 4 in a 2-class span there. It's crazy. And then if you look along the D line, I mentioned Miles Smith and Zyron Forstall, Fred Ards, Caden McCarty coming off the edge. I mentioned Smith. They are some real dudes here, and you can say the same thing about wide receiver in the last 2 classes. Just look at the top of Gregory, McFarland, and now the 2 Warrens. So, I mean, I just think golly, and if you go back one more class along the D line, I mentioned Bryce Perry Wright, Tristan Givens, to go with what you've got that I just talked about. Those 2 positions to me, it's just sky high right now, and quietly. What they're quietly doing that I think people are missing. And I think this week was an interesting time to mention it, because I think quietly what they're doing, when you look at a Caden Henderson, and then what they just added with Mekhi Allen, and then when you add Whiteside to that mix, that class, and then you go back to what they were able to sign last year, that we're sitting there watching them in the very, very early going, right? And it's funny because they're not as high in this actual class, but Tank King, Storm Miller, they got about 4 linebackers in that class that they feel good about. Quebec is a guy that kept catching my eye during the spring. That's not rated. This is towards the bottom of the class, right? Caleb Tafua, Storm Miller, Quebec, and Tank King. I promise you, out of that class, you're going to have a Buddy Johnson or a Tyrell Dodson or Edge Cooper. I'm not saying there's a 2nd-round draft pick in there, but you're going to have 1 or 2 of those guys are going to make their way to the NFL and be multi-year starters at A&M, because the 4 have so much potential. Then you look at these 3, where I think they've taken it up to a whole nother level. Obviously, with Henderson at the top, I think he's can't miss. I think he's the highest ranked linebacker they've signed in God knows how long. I mean, when we say ever, we mean since this modern ranking era. So ever. And quietly linebacker. So I mentioned D-line. I mentioned secondary. Quietly linebacker. I still would like to see them eventually add one of these
running back.
No, I'm talking just defense, but defense, okay. Bobby Brown. Look, I'd like to see them add a running back in this class, but they just signed a 5-star, one of the top 3 in the country, in KJ Edwards. So, I mean, he literally just did that. Yeah. He hasn't even touched the field yet. So, it's not even – I'd just like to see him add one in this class to kind of, to me, take it over. If I'm looking at standing need left in the class, it's almost like that's almost the only thing.
Right.
Almost the only thing out there for them.
So here's the breakdown. Quarterback, number 15. Wide receiver, number 9 and number 10. Offensive tackle, You got number 1, number 10, number 13, number 14. I guess he means offensive line.
Okay.
Defensive line and edge. Number 6, number 8, number 10, number 19. Linebacker, number 3, number 19. DBs, number 1, number 2, number 5. Kicker, punter, number 3 and number 8.
Number 1, number 2, number 5 at DB. I think that's safety corner still.
Safety, yeah.
And like I said, Henry is number 5 at corner. Should be higher. I'm just telling you. Ask Ryan Day about that because he did not want to give up on that recruitment at all. So anyway, they're recruiting at a level that, I mean, we've seen it once. There was flaws in that class in hindsight, and even at the time, we weren't sitting there worried about it. But you knew they were taking some character risk, and why guys like, Chris Marshall, Denver Harris, fell to A&M, and by fell I mean they. Talent-wise, they're Alabama, Georgia. At that time, like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, A&M, there was a gap.
Yeah.
They were coming to A&M in part because of that. And it was okay. Like I personally thought Jimbo could manage it. That turned out wrong. I think between the NIL era and it was not the time to really be taking risks. And then the second problem with the class, which was going to naturally lead to attrition, I guarantee you I was sitting there going, this is the best D-line class I've ever seen. And it was. But it's almost like you sign like 8 in hopes of getting 4, where the other 4 we're going to matriculate on. You almost sort of, we're going to take 8 and see what the cream rises to the top. It was just an unbalanced class. And if you look at this one, you can't say either one of those things. It's great character. You don't hear anything about any type of risks, or it doesn't mean every kid's going to pan out. Every kid's going to have a clear path, but there are no red flags coming in, really none. And I'm not going to say names. There's a couple of red flag guys that they were recruiting because I do think Mike Elko has the culture where it needs to be and where he wants it to be, where you can take a guy or two like that a year and they will assimilate to the right side of things instead of going left. Whereas what was happening in 2022 is over the course of time, you took too many of them and they went left.
Yeah.
You get the culture where it is, you can take some chances. And A&M would have taken those kids, and I'm not talking about the Denver Harris, Chris Marshall level red flag, but just kind of some, man, is this guy going to fit?
Right.
Is he going to assimilate? Is he going to be a locker room problem? Is he going to be difficult to coach? Like things like that. But they were going to take them because, again, where the culture was, and they missed out on a couple of them. But they would have, but as it stands, the way it worked out, I don't think there are any of those guys in there.
Billy, where's an area of A&M football in 2026 that they're better than the public realizes? Like
a position or
anything. It could be position, it could be a coaching spot, it could be anywhere. Something that people just haven't caught on to yet. They will, but an area.
Well, hopefully it's Holman Wiggins, because why would anyone know? And if that's the answer,
then the offense
by
takes
the end
a
of
big
the
step,
season,
yeah.
I think A&M's back in the playoff, because then that means that he utilized Marcel greatly, and that means that the offense was really strong. I think we feel good about the defense just any year under Elko, but even with what they brought back and what they've got in the portal, I think
Travis Williams, another one to consider, the linebacker coach.
Yeah, what about him?
No, I'm just saying, I think he's somebody that we don't know yet, and I think might be able to get a lot out of those linebackers. That we
I think he's a really highly respected and regarded coach and recruiter. So, yeah, he'd definitely be one. I just think a lot of those guys, but, one thing to me, and we got into it big time on the podcast yesterday, the moving goalposts were, I just think you hear so much about, and this will be the way with A&M too, now with the Arringtons and with the Henry and Dorsey and Snell. Like, it'll be like, I know all those guys at Texas by name because they were all such highly recruited guys in their secondary. So Amanda went all in and said, there's no way I would take A&M secondary over Texas this year. And it's because they had a lot more picks last year. And I know, and and the listeners know, we know all the names other than, Masco, who they took from Rutgers, who they like. And I'm not crapping on taking a corner from Rutgers if he can play. I think A&M would have gladly taken the receiver from Rutgers. I heard you guys the other day, and they were ranking him, and Olin was like, I don't, kind of blew it off, which I probably would have too, because I don't watch Rutgers football, but I knew
A&M was talking
that
to
he
him.
that he was thinking of going in the portal, and those back channels, agents and things. I knew like A&M would be a real player.
Sure.
This was before Isaiah Horton was in, but that guy to me would have been every bit the catch that Cam Coleman was. Rutgers. So nothing against it, but that's the only guy we haven't really heard of, because you've heard of Jelani McDonald, and you've heard of their corner now. I'm already forgetting his name. That picked up his brother, played here. Kenneth Phillips was a 5-star that flipped from LSU. Like, we know all the names because Texas recruits at that level. I started to go into it, and my defense was, all right, dude. And like, it's a difficult argument because people don't know, to go to what you're saying. Like, I think if you talk to NFL scouts today, like Des Riggs is going to get drafted.
Yep.
A healthy,
Ricky
and it was a peck. Ricky Gibson's going to get drafted. Marcus Ratcliffe is a projected draft pick.
Dalton Brooks
is certainly a projected draft pick. That's 4 right there, and that doesn't count a Julio Humphrey, a Jordan Shaw. I know we don't talk about Bryce Anderson enough, but he seems to be really
played a lot of football, man.
Played a lot of ball. Maybe he can be back in that nickel spot. He's been busting his ass this offseason. Like, there's a lot back there to work with. And that doesn't even count like some of these younger guys, like a Miles Davis, like a Brandon Arrington. But just looking at your projected starters, and like Julio Humphrey has like NFL level talent. That's why he started at Georgia for 10 games a couple of years ago. It doesn't just happen that way. I'm not saying he was the best DB at Georgia. I'm not saying he would have started the next year. Heck, he didn't start here last year. But he looks much better this offseason. So, like, my point in saying that is, yeah, I need to see them tackle better, okay, than they did last year. And I think part of that, like, I don't think Will Lee was the best tackler out there. But I need to see as a unit that group tackle better.
Yep.
I can think of a couple of, like, massive plays this year that they didn't. And I'm not to say it was their tackle to make, but they had the chance to make the tackle. I think of Arch Manning's touchdown run. I think of Fletcher, keep that play to 12 yards. That was more about getting blocked than it was missing a tackle. I can think of the touchdown that almost broke your back against South Carolina. That little, he's going to run 75 yards and go straight up the tunnel. Like those type plays, let's see them erase that. And then I'll feel really good about this secondary. But I think that's the thing no one talks about, is I think this Texas A&M secondary is poised to make a significant jump. And I didn't even mention Tafik Byard. Him and Ricky Gibson in the portal. I love what they've got to work with. Top end talent, NFL bound talent, really exciting young talent, and then depth as well.
We got to hit a break here. We'll come back with only like 2 minutes, but I'm going to throw out another position group for you to consider on this. It's TexAgs Live.
And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. He's Billy, I'm David. All right, so we're talking about position groups, or not position, just parts of A&M. It could be position, could be coaching, that could be better in 2026 than the public realizes. I think running back could be one of those. And the reason I say that is not that I don't think you're going to be better without Le'Veon Moss, right?
Well, but you played half the year without him.
Exactly my point. So a full season of Reuben, by the way, a whole year removed after playing a season from his injury, so not 2 years removed, right, from his injury, and another year of Jamarian and a bunch of very talented guys under that.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Baker and Tiger Ryden. The way Baker blocked a few times in the spring, I was like, damn, like he's built like a tailback, blocking like an old school fullback. He's physical, and the way he was really impressed with how he runs. Tiger Ryden is a guy that a year ago at this time, you're going, damn, he and Morrow are pretty good. And like Tiger Ryden doesn't get enough talk. Like go look at what he did in high school. So, like at DeSoto, he was a monster.
Yeah,
he was carried the load week in and week out, as many carries as you wanted to feed him. And he's a bigger guy than some of the other guys. But he was hurt last year. He got hurt early in camp and wasn't a factor. So they need some of that, and they need Edwards to be the stud that he and we didn't see enough of him this spring. In the offseason, he looked at like people are going, oh wow, he moves at a different level to him. But I think somebody out of those three needs to emerge and be really good. And I think that's KJ Edwards. I think he's special. But I think with the SEC, if you did a short list of guys who could be breakout stars in the SEC, Jamarian Morrow would be on my short list of Aggies. Like he's on that short list to me of like kind of like people outside of A&M going, where the hell did this guy come from? I think he could be that guy. So, and then Reuben, just keep doing this, Reuben. Like just keep. He looks really good physically. You could tell he's put in the work. Like he looks better than he has at any point in his career. Just keep putting in the work, Reuben, because he quietly had some good games against good teams last year. Really good games against good teams. Or even some of the lesser SEC teams he had big games against. Turn that into doing that against the Texas and the Miamis of the world, and then all of a sudden we're talking about a different guy. I'm with you. I think the potential is there at running back for that to be. I think it is going to happen in the secondary. I think at running back, there's a chance for that to happen.
Thank you, Billy.
All right, Dave.
All right, appreciate everybody. Thanks to all of our great guests. Darinoka on the show. We had Bronny on the show as well. And Richard Zane stepping in for OB on vacay. Thanks so much for everybody watching and listening. We'll catch up with you mañana.